Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. This is Norman Kochnick from my channel, Eyes on Cricket. And I'm sure a lot of returning viewers will be there, which is great. I can see Manu John's on there. Got a few other people there. Project Stan, he's there as well. I've got a few. Try and get that. Okay. Got a few viewers on that are regulars. The reality is we have a show here today which will be about all things the way forward in Indian cricket, and in particular the way forward regarding Virat Kohli and the team India, in regards to a number of aspects of India, changes they may make, the schedule they're up against, a whole lot of discussions. It'll be a long discussion. And I've been joined here today by none other than Gargi Wankar. How are you? Oh, I've lost her. She'll be here shortly. Now, Gargi, of course, is an up-and-coming Indian women's cricketer, but also very knowledgeable, very articulate, and knows a lot about cricket, not just in women's cricket, but also men's. And is a great person to have on the show. She hasn't had much of an opportunity lately, but I'm sure she'll have an opportunity soon. We'll just see whether she comes back. Yeah, she'll be back in a second. So we're going to have a long chat. I've got a lot of time. Now, the reason why I have a lot of time on my hands today is because we in Sydney, I'm in Coogee, on Carrington Road in Coogee. Coogee Bay is not far away. Coogee Bay Road, which I do a lot of walks and talks there, has just begun a 2-week, 14-day lockdown. Yes, lockdown. Very sad. Hello, Gargi.
Hi, Mohan. How are you?
Very well. We're live already.
Yeah, finally.
Yes.
After a long time.
Yeah, long time. You know what? Today, at some stage today, we went into lockdown in Sydney, Australia.
Okay, yeah. I heard that.
After almost what, my heavens, maybe 8, 9, 10 months. I'm not sure how long, but maybe I'm going to guess now and say 8, 9 months since we've had any form of lockdown at all. None.
Yeah.
We had 0 cases for months and months and months. And then one gentleman who was driving, like a hire car driver of somebody who arrived in the country. I don't know exactly what transpired. He got it and spread it. Now we've got 82 live cases in my area, and they've shut Sydney down. It's only 82, but it's very, very contagious strain. I think it's the Delta virus, which is the more contagious. Not necessarily going to kill people, but it's still not good. So I'm in lockdown. So I've got plenty of time to talk now, which is very much a lot of fun. How are you, Gargi? What have you been doing?
I mean, the activities are starting here now. The situation is much better than before.
That's good.
Yeah, and things are opening up. We are out of the lockdown, and things are much better now. You know, past 2 months were just horrible. They were really horrible. But yeah, things are changing, and yeah, life is getting back to normal. And I
Which is
hope it
fantastic.
stays the same.
Yeah, so do I. To me, are you playing? You're not playing cricket though, are you?
No, not right now. Actually, it's rainy season here, so not much
Right.
cricketing activities happen.
You can't play cricket. Okay. Do you like my hat?
Yeah, I'm I'm seeing it. Yeah, your hat and your jerseys. Yeah, your channel is growing so much, and you got your own merchandise also. So when are you
I'll,
sending me those?
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that. I
Yeah.
will. I'll send you some. What color would you like? I'll give you a bit of a run through. There's the latte brown. This is latte
Yeah.
brown.
Yeah.
Then there's, I think this is French navy. Tell me, which one do you like? Latte brown? French navy?
Yeah, I like this one.
This one, the French navy?
Yeah.
Okay. This is called petrol blue.
Okay.
Then you have white, which you would know. White's the standard white. and then you've got black. But you like the French military or
Yeah,
French,
I like
I
that
think it's
one.
called
Actually, it
French
matches the
Navy.
color of Indian hat now, so I like that one.
Yeah. And this is my shirt here, which should be it's a nice one too. I've got a
Yeah,
spray
look
jacket.
good on both.
I've got cups too, and I've got books I can sell for Steve Moore and a whole lot of things happening. So, have you been watching the cricket between? Well, firstly, everything from New Zealand versus England, the two tests, and did you watch the World Test Championship between India and New Zealand? Did you watch that?
Yeah, see, to sum up in short, I would like to say, like, as New Zealand was playing, I had already played 2 test matches in England beforehand, and having won the series against England, definitely New Zealand somewhere had an upper hand over India in using the conditions very well. They definitely used the conditions in England very well as compared to the Indian team. So they definitely had an upper hand as they had already played some matches before and even won them.
Yeah. So you were pretty happy with the way New Zealand played. They were pretty impressive, weren't they?
Yes, yeah, I liked. I mean, a good team won the tournament.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty happy. The match could have been a draw, but
Which would have
yeah,
been terrible.
it ended with a result and a good team won.
Yeah. That's good. I'm glad. I think it's important for us to be able to have, the way that we can share around the world. New Zealand gone very close. They've won now, which is great. Birami Irani, yes, there's a lockdown in Sydney for 2 weeks. He's saying hello to you, Birami. He's one of our major fans.
Yeah.
Did I see how
Hi, Birami, I'm good. How are you?
Yes, reply back, Birami. So also a mace. Is it May? It's not Maze, it's Mace. M-A-C-E. Maze is something different. Yeah, there's a fair bit of talk about the 10, which we'll get to in a minute. So we have a lot of things we'll talk about. So where are you, Gagi? Where you're because Baram, he's in Singapore. He's live from Singapore. You're in. Explain where you're from.
I'm from India, and right now I'm in a city called Chandrapur.
Can you spell that? Chandrapur. Not
Yeah, it is
Chandrapur.
somewhere
The
near
place
Nagpur.
near Nagpur.
Yeah.
Because it's not Chandrapur as in Chandrapal. I thought it was West Indian. All right. So this show, there are going to be other people joining us, Gagi. I've got a few people coming a bit later. This is going to be a long discussion about, as you saw the promo talked about, potential changes to Team India, the way forward, things like the way that the Team India schedule, which is very interesting. There's quite a bit in that. In fact, they're going to get a chance to play New Zealand again in a mini World Test Championship in India. I think it's November. It's not that far away. So India have the ability now to sort of fight back in a way and show their wares against New Zealand. And if they're good enough, they can thump them, and that'll be great. That'll sort of level the playing field for the future. New Zealand have won this time, which we congratulate. It's fantastic. But I'm saying that the future schedule looks good for India, I think. Yeah, Barami says my hat colour doesn't match my shirt. Yeah, well, I'm going to try and get a pink cap as well, but I didn't think pink caps were the right colour just yet. We'll get it. Okay. It's not Persian blue. That's actually navy blue. Okay. Baram's asking, why didn't India team go easier when they had time to the IPL, play a couple of Kali matches? Yeah, that's true, isn't it? They could have come a bit earlier, couldn't they?
Right. I see there are some players who also play county cricket, like Pujara does when he's
Kahari.
free. Yeah, he does. And I mean, IPL has also been a great platform for Indian players and budding Indian cricketers. You see many young cricketers now coming up are through IPL. So it's a huge stage and they get to play against many big players of international cricket having such a huge experience. So it's a good platform, I see. I mean, for budding up for international cricket. It's a big preparation also. And some players do play county cricket like Pujara, Vihari does. Yeah.
Now, I was talking to a fellow called Sri Harsha, he has his own channel as well, about, well, for example, Delhi Capitals had Rishabh Pant as the captain in place of Shreyas Iyer. Now, apparently Shreyas Iyer is now fit. And the first question is, will he then return to the captaincy of Delhi Capitals? And the potential, apparently, what they say is he's a very good captain, not just for Delhi Capitals, but also for potential Indian teams. And even more dramatically, is he potentially an Indian Test captain or ODI or T20 captain of the future? What do you think?
For Rishabh Pant, yes, maybe for shorter formats, but for long formats like Test cricket and uh, uh, I mean, I don't actually see him like captaining the Test side.
What about Shreyas Iyer?
Yeah, he's doing good. I think he'll make a good comeback. When he does, I guess he'll get the captaincy of Delhi Capitals as well. And he's performing well in one days, and he'll make a good comeback. Yeah, he does has the captaincy potential.
Would he be somebody that you would consider for the Indian team, the Test team, or the ODI or T20 in the future? Is it something that you would see him perhaps playing and even captaining, perhaps? Is that something
So,
that's possible? Or is that a big
Shreyas
call?
Iyer, we talking about
Shreyas Iyer. Shreyas
yeah,
Iyer.
yeah, we are yet to see him in the test right now, but yeah, I think he has a good potential for that. And
Yeah, he hasn't played for his country, has he yet?
no, he hasn't till now. Yes, I don't think so. Yes.
Well, we're waiting on Yashpal Erda here. This is going to be interesting. Yashpal, I'm waiting for Yashpal to turn. Yashpal is a very prominent person in Australia. He has a great set of restaurants and he has an immigration business, but he's also a very good cricketer. He's played with me on cricket tours to India. He's also well connected to the Indian team. He has a lot of the main players that look up to him because he was a senior to them in their playing ranks. He's from Gujarat, from Ahmedabad.
Yeah.
So Rishabh Pant, who else would there be? Shubman Gill. There's a whole host of Indian players that know him very well. I'm just not sure whether he's actually coming on or not. I'm just going to see. He hasn't quite come on yet. I'll give him a minute just to. We'll move, or just give him a second. So we just not sure. If I move him from the stream, what happens? Here we go. Here we go. Right. No worries. Okay, so he'll be coming on shortly. So yeah, so Shreyas Iyer. The idea is that I guess a lot of discussion has been had. I'm getting a lot of commentary about Kohli and his captaincy, and a lot of people talk about changing him or him not winning the finals of numerous championships. But they're forgetting something very, very important, that he actually has gotten the team to the final.
Yeah.
And that's a huge captaincy effort to start with. So it's not like he hasn't done a good job.
Yeah.
Okay, they haven't won some of the tournaments, like this World Test Championship, but you can't just say no. It's not. He should be dropped or should be sacked from captaincy. You would never drop Kohli, you would never sack Kohli, but you may change from being captain to non-captain. But what do you think?
I don't know why the buzz is going around about his captaincy. I mean, he has done so much for the team, and he has been a captain for a few years now, and he has brought our test team to the top on the rankings of ICC, and and he has also changed the whole body language of the team. I mean, now you see the body language of the team, their fitness levels have improved. I mean, you could see the running between the wickets while during the matches, and the fielding effort has improved tremendously. And yeah, he has completely changed the scene of the team. And yeah, he has been one of the best captains, I would say, according to me, and in all the three formats.
I agree. I think they're so critical of him. Why? Because he's so damn good. Expectations of Kohli are through the roof. And because of that, you have a sense of if he doesn't win everything that moves, he's failed. And
Yeah,
that's typical of a champion. I mean, when Donald Bradman was scoring big hundreds, if he got out for 299, the comments were, oh my God, he didn't get 300, which is
yeah,
ridiculous, of course. But you get my point, don't you? You understand my point. The fact is, you end up having such high expectations for him that you end up expecting him to win everything that moves.
yeah.
So,
I mean, he has set the bar so high for himself and for the team. Like every loss is, and people make buzz out of it. But he has been one of the best captains so far, I would say, in all the three formats.
and the question is, if he's not captain, then who would be captain? I mean, you've got the leadership group of Pujara, Rohit Sharma, and of course Rahane around him. Rahane did a very good job at Test level in Australia, absolutely, and it deserves to be understood that he is a very worthy vice captain of India and a potential good stand-in captain for India, absolutely. But Pujara is not probably a captain. I don't think he leads by example. He's batting. And in the case of Rohit Sharma, he's very good at the short format as captain. I don't know whether he's good necessarily at the long format. But what do you think of Rohit Sharma's performance in the World Test Championship? What do you think of his performance? He's batting.
Yeah. He did get a good start in the final game, but he could not actually capitalize on it. Those were, I guess, difficult conditions to bat, really.
Yeah.
And he did a good job, I would say. He gave a good start, which was actually required.
I agree. I think, again, like I mentioned about Virat Kohli, the expectations are that Rohit Sharma is going to go out and score 250 every time he gets out to bat.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous. In the first innings, they scored, it was a 62-run opening partnership between Shubman Gill and Rohit Sharma. That was incredibly impressive, considering the conditions, the swing bowling, the overcast conditions. To be able to put up a 62-run opening partnership for an opening batting performance, especially from a player that hadn't played as an opener in England before, was stupendous. I think it really was good. Even in the second innings, he again played very well, but got out to an LBW decision, which he was very unselfish because he did not contest. He didn't go like that. He let the decision go, which was very unselfish. Had it been Shane Watson, he would have went ding straight away. So I'm very impressed with Rohit Sharma. I think he should stay there, and so should Shubman Gill. They deserve to be regular opening partners a lot longer, and they will come good. In fact, I'm expecting them to come good against England in the upcoming 5 test series. It's going to be exciting, actually.
Yes, definitely. I'm looking forward to it, and I know India will definitely bounce back. Now they have assessed the conditions very well, and they'll bounce back stronger.
You know what? Let me just say this, Gargi. You would make a great commentator. Your voice is beautiful. You're clear. You're clever. You're well understood. Viewers, tell me about what you think about Gargi. I think she's brilliant. She can handle, and she knows her cricket. She plays cricket at the highest level. She can't get me out. I mean, I'm just clearly a tremendous batsman. Have you got me out yet? No. Have you? You haven't. No, you haven't. That's a challenge. Next time we're together, you're going to bowl to me. Let's see if you can get me out.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. We'll see that. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I mean, look, I'm just gonna rock back, pull through, mid wicket, and just stand there and scratch my top and say, how good was that? And then if you bowl full, I'll launch into a ball over mid off, clearing the boundary on the way up into the stand, not down, on the way up into the very bit Viv Richards like. And then I'll rock back when you bowl that. You bowl a good line and length. I remember that. You got Lakshya De Silva. You got her at nicking behind. I remember. So that was a very good ball because Lakshi's a good player. But I'll just rock back, have a high elbow lift, and drive you through extra cover, or I'll lie back and I'll slice you over the top of points. They're the 4 shots I'm going to play. All right. You like that challenge?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. We've got a question from Shubhan Sawant. You want to answer that, Gargi? Siraj versus Ishant, who was better?
I'll go for Mohammad Siraj.
Yeah, I think so. He was probably missing in that match, wasn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think that I think there's a lot to be said about Mohammad Siraj into the future. I really do.
Yes, he was amazing in the IPL and even in the Australian Test series.
Look at you, Barami's just supported you here. He's given you a big tick. He said, yes, Gargi has a nice voice. Looks loads of love and all the best in your cricket career and get big laurels for India. I think you really are going, if you've got time, I want you to be a regular on my show. You have to find time each week. Can you do that?
Yeah, I'll do that whenever I'm there and not playing cricket. I can do this, and this is much more fun with you.
Okay,
Sure.
I appreciate it. But the thing is, you're very relaxed. You speak very. I'm not joking. I've had a lot of people on my show, as you know. Anisha Tucker, she's very good. Ridhima Pathak, very, very famous. She's been on my show. A lot of people. I mean, obviously Shripali and the rest of them as well. So, but I want you to grow with my channel, and I want you to grow and become a regular commentator. You can even do your own features in the future. Maybe we can get you to interview people if you want to in India. Lots of things as we develop during the World Cup.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Is that a thing? Is that a thing you want to do?
Yes, we can do that definitely. I'll be looking forward to it. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, then you've got that. So when you bowl, you're a medium to fast. Would you say fast bowl or medium to fast? What would you say you are?
Yes, I'm a fast bowling all rounder.
Fast bowling all rounder. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that you're a type of bowler that swings the ball or more cuts the ball, as in seams the ball? What's your bowling technique?
I can swing the ball well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you hold the ball, do you cock your wrist, and then how do you cock your wrist, like make it like that? Do you like do that?
Yes, I can swing the ball both the ways.
But the SG ball is not as good as the Duke's ball. The SG ball isn't.
Yes.
Have you played with a Duke's ball?
No, not yet. But I'm actually, I want to someday, definitely.
Oh my God. When you get the ball in your hand, you'll be so excited because it's much smaller and you can play a lot more with it. And the ball hoop. The word is not swings, it hoops. It goes real. And you've got to be careful because you can over exaggerate and you can actually be too much swing. It's that good. You'll probably find you're bowling too much swing. It'll move too much. So you'll need to plant it about leg stump to get an off stump. Yeah. It's quite incredible.
Yeah.
So Shuman Savant's asking a question, Gargi, do you follow AB de Villiers and Virat batting technique? You're an all-rounder. Who's the batter that you follow?
I definitely follow Virat Kohli. And both of them are legends. There is no doubt in that. But I actually do follow Virat Kohli for batting techniques.
Right.
And
Well,
AB
tell
de
us.
Villiers, I don't think anyone can actually match his batting technique. You see, he's a all-round 360-degree player, and he's a superman. I don't think anyone else other than him can do it.
Yeah, that's true. We've been joined by Munchie. Now, Munchie is from England, Gargi. Now, Munchie, we're talking swing. Norman's talking swing. So the idea, Gargi meet Munchie, Munchie meet Gargi. Say hello, Gargi.
Yes.
Say hello to Munchie.
Hi, Manji. How are you?
And Munchie is based in England
Okay.
and is very, he's been on the show very often. He's close friends with Chris Vernon, who you know is on my show as well. And Munchie is also someone who knows a lot about cricket. And you never know, one day maybe there's a club in England that you can play for with the Duke's ball. Would you like that?
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
Well, Munchie, you have to help connect Gargi to a women's team in England so she can let her bowling skills come out. Look. So Munchie's saying hi to you, and he's saying hi to Munchie as well. Now, I'm not going to ask Munchie the weather forecast because I don't care. Because normally we worried about the weather forecast, but today I don't care. Munchie, I've got a two-week lockdown here with a lot of time on my hands, so we'll be doing a lot of videos. I think. In fact, tomorrow I'm going to be going to supermarkets around Sydney where lockdown is still occurring. People are in there buying their goods with masks on, and I'll be asking them questions about Virat Kohli. You watch.
Wow.
Thanks, Munchie. Munchie's saying it's dry today. I don't care. There's no World Test Championship. It could be boiling hot there. I don't care. It should have been boiling hot for those 5 days. But even though we had rain in Southampton, in a GS Bowl or Hampshire Bowl, we still got a result, didn't we? I'm very happy about that. Aren't you? It would have been terrible, Gargi, to have a draw, wouldn't it? Gargi? Can you hear me?
Yes.
I said, wouldn't it have been terrible if there was a draw?
Actually, being on the losing side now feels like a draw would have been better, but definitely a good team won, and I'm glad.
Yeah, I mean, of course, India didn't win, but I don't think India would have been too excited to share it either. Honestly, it would have been frustrating.
Yeah,
How do you
honestly,
share it?
right.
How do you share it? What do you go? We won, kind of. We won half. I mean, that's annoying. I prefer to say I won or I lost. That's it.
Yeah.
Because both teams have to remember they made the World Test Championship final. They made it. That's very, very big.
Yeah, so far both the teams' journey has been incredible, and the way they fought back to get into the finals was really amazing. And what Virat Kohli said about having a series as the finals, I really count that as an option because it is actually, the series or the tournament went on like the series against each teams, and now suddenly final you only get to play one match. So definitely there should be this thing of having a series as finals.
That's a very interesting question. And the way you explained it then, for the first time to me makes sense because I have been very strong about the fact that I don't think it should be any more than one game. I think it should be one game. A final, I think should be one game. But the way you explained it then, because every team will play a series, that's the way they've done it to get here, then maybe there should be a series. That makes some sense.
Yes.
It does. But despite the fact that it makes sense or whatever you want to say, the cards were played on the table. They knew they had one game. They prepared for one game. There's no excuses. You can't say, oh, if we had three, we would have won. No, you had one. You knew you had one, and you had to win the one. So I believe very strongly in no matter what the circumstances are, the rain, the way New Zealand got to the final, lack of practice, whatever, is irrelevant when you walk on the field. You know the parameters of your game, then you should be able to play. So that's
It's
my thought.
definitely no excuses, but yeah, this is something we can take into account for future,
Absolutely.
maybe for the upcoming championship or that.
You know what you should do for me, Gargi? You should go on the streets of your area, if you want, with your video camera, interview in English, of course, maybe some Hindi too,
Yeah.
and ask them about Virat Kohli. Can you do that? And we'll put together a video, beautiful video. Would you like to do that?
Yeah, actually, but because of COVID going on right now, I'm
You
just
can't
not.
do it. Okay.
Yeah,
In
not,
the
not
future, in the
absolutely
future,
content.
in the
Yeah, in the
future.
future, definitely.
Let's have a look. We've got a few comments here. Munchie still believes that in one match playoff, but in the event of a draw, the team top of the league should be the overall winner. Okay. That's a good change. No one should share it. That's rubbish. So if New Zealand were top and there was a draw, New Zealand wins. I'd get that. I agree with that. I think that's a good comment. What do you think, Gargi?
No, I think there should be a finals. It brings out the exciting part of the game, and it was actually very exciting to watch a test match as a final. So I'll go with final between two teams.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah, the point system does need to be looking at, but this is the first attempt. They did a good enough job. We've got a result. New Zealand won. Let's improve for the future. What problem is India takes one match to get settled? I don't think they played badly for their first match. I think they mentally approached it differently. Okay, that's a good question. Now, Anshuman Gautam is also called Music Harmony Gargi. He's a regular on our show. Munchie, well, then the team top of the league might play for a draw right from the beginning. That's true. But you know what? If you play for a draw in a test match, you're going to be beaten, I think. You really, as the other side's good enough, they'll beat you because they'll put pressure on you and you'll get out. A negative mindset will actually go against you. Yeah, that's true. It's very hard to fit into a program, and there's so many other problems that'll come from that. I don't know whether we should do that. Okay, and it's true, Munchie. Okay, Munchie's saying that the top team should win if it's a draw. Anshuman Galton is saying that, well, that could mean the top team can play for a draw. Well, that's their prerogative. It's their benefit of being top. They can do that, but to their own peril because they could also lose very badly. Couldn't they? Have you ever played a game of cricket, Gargi, that you played to draw?
Actually, we don't play many test matches here in our domestic circuit. I've played one couple of T20 games which ended up in draw, but then we have a super over for that. It was
True.
quite interesting.
Yeah, that would have been exciting.
Yeah, definitely. It is always interesting, a super over.
Are you going to go to Bangladesh in the future to play in the tournament they have there?
Pardon?
Are you going to Bangladesh in the future? Like when I met you in Bangladesh, remember?
Yeah.
You're going to go back to Bangladesh and play again?
Nothing in the plans right now, but in the future I'll see to it. Because of this COVID situation, there's nothing in the plans.
No. How are your studies going?
Great. I mean, I'm pursuing. I'm studying law. I'm pursuing a degree in law. It's I have 1 year left for getting the degree and graduation.
Wow. What type of law are you majoring in?
Yeah.
Are you majoring in criminal law, patent
No,
law?
no specialization right now. This is just a degree in law. After this, you can do any specialization if you want to.
Are you going to do?
Uh, I have not thought about it actually,
Do you
because
want to work?
studying and playing cricket along with it, it actually gets difficult sometimes. So I've actually not thought about it.
Do you want to work overseas as a lawyer?
No, not for studying. No.
No, not studying. When you've completed your university degree in law,
Yeah.
do you want to have any work experience overseas?
Yes, why not? Definitely.
Where?
I would like to.
What country?
Yeah, England is a good place. I mean, London for that purpose.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It would probably be the best. Not Australia?
Yeah, Australia is, but there's even Australia.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right. What do you think of Shubman Gill and the way that he played? What do you think
Uh,
of Shubman?
he
What do you
played
think of,
really well in the first innings, I'd say,
yeah,
as considering the conditions. And he was really impressive in the Australian series also. He has a lot of potential and he's a future star. I'll call him a future star.
yeah, they've got to persist with him. They've got to continue with him. They've got to continue to play him, give him the opportunity to grow, shouldn't they? Really? All right. Let's have a look what else we've got here. There's no law in Australia. That's not true, Baram. You keep quiet. We've got plenty of law here. You're lawless. Singapore's got too many laws. Does Gargi do you like cold weather?
Yes, I like the England weather. I've never been to England, but I love that country.
That's good. And Baram's making a cheeky comment. We've got no law. We've got Stuart law. Yes, we do. Baram is trying to. I think he might be. He's in this mood to be a comedian today for sure. Okay, now, all right. So, okay, in terms of the Indian national team, Team India, okay, we have got a good side there, but in terms of the future, what direction? What do you see changes being made to the Indian team? You mentioned Siraj, Mohammad
Yeah.
Siraj. Would you have him there? Probably Ishant Sharma's days are numbered. Correct?
According to me, actually, Mohammad Siraj would have been a better option uh, for the form he is in now in the IPL. He showed in the Test series in home and in Australia. He actually looked in a good form. So he can be a good option considering the conditions of England. He can actually make good use of that conditions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a comment here about Tim Payne being jealous for New Zealand's success. You did hear that Tim Payne was quite clearly saying that India will win easily and didn't give New Zealand a chance. Now in commentary, he said he watched when New Zealand won the match. He said he watched the 6th day of the match and said New Zealand did all right. So him being the Test captain of Australia, you think he would have watched all 6 days of the Test match just to get form? It's a bit of a shock, really. So Ashman Miserable, we've already talked before offline. This man's trying to get me onto his show. The reality is it'll happen, but not today. And we're not looking at getting you on today's shows, but bear with us. Okay. The New Zealand media also took a dig at Payne. They did. I saw that. In fact, one of our guests, Savan, who's got the channel, That Cricket Guy. Have you seen That Cricket Guy? Have you seen that channel called Gargi? Have you seen That Cricket Guy, the channel? Okay, Gargi's got a message here. Oh, we've got Bill coming on. Talking about Mr. Gill.
Yep. How are you?
Good. Now, have you met Gargi before?
No, I think it's the first time that we are on the show together. Nice to meet you, Gagi. Hope
Yeah,
Norman's
nice to
not
meet
been
you.
annoying you. Hope Norman's not annoying you.
The only person that's going to be annoying me is you. What are you talking about? Your beard's got a bit longer today. Have you got your beard look longer today? I'm not sure. It looks different.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Now, Gargi is actually, she plays at a state level in India cricket. She's a very good cricketer, good fast bowler, or batting or bowling all rounder, would you say? Gargi? She's not listening. Gargi is Gargi's a very good fast bowler. She went to Bangladesh recently on a tour. She's also a very good batter. She's in the mix for the Indian team in the future. Okay, we've lost her for the moment. That's all right. So, Gil, you're back. You're back. Did you hear my question,
Yeah.
Gargi?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Actually, there was some network issue.
Okay.
I'm back.
I just told Gil about your so-called cricketing ability. You're a bowler, fast bowler, but you're a bowling all-rounder, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why would you call so-called cricketing ability? I think that's a pretty genuine ability.
Yeah, that's okay. All right. You're being picky. I do mean I don't want to embarrass it with too many compliments because then it'll overwhelm her. No. Now, Gil, you had a guest on the show.
I've never heard you say that or feel or say that you feel overwhelmed when someone says something about your good looks. So yeah. I mean, you should
All
then feel
right. I
overwhelmed
stand
about it.
corrected. I stand corrected. I stand corrected. I stand corrected. I stand corrected. Now, Gil, now he has a channel called Gilly's Cricket, which is very polished. Very polished. Now tell me, Gil, did you your next guest? He's a huge one. Tell me about your next guest.
Yeah, the next guest is Gaurav Kapoor, the
Oh,
person who's been an IPL anchor for 8 years and is the person who runs Breakfast with Champions. Also has a podcast on Spotify by the name of 22 Yarns. I actually, just messaged Oak Tree Sports and then I didn't expect him to reply back, but he did. So yeah, it's quite fun to have a chat with him. He's just like how he is in front of the camera whenever he's doing a show or a podcast, just completely being himself. So also it turned out to be a happy coincidence that the short for my name for many people, Gurkirat, can be GK, and his initials are also GK. So it just so happened I started off by saying so. Today we have one GK interviewing another GK, and yeah, that's how it happened.
that's
Well, you have to get
awesome. I love his show, Breakfast with Champions. I've seen all those episodes and he's really awesome.
he certainly is. Gil, you have to do me a favor. We have to reciprocate his contacts with whose contacts. All right.
Yeah,
Is that okay? Because I'd like to have him on the
yeah,
show as well.
yeah. I will. I've messaged them again because I don't have a personal contact or anyone else. See, I'm not as big as you are. Like that, you can call players on their mobile number. Get them to show up for for you. I'm just a small guy. I just try and take arrows. Take arrows in the dark. Sometimes they hit. Sometimes they don't. So that's about it. My luck with getting guests is just like Virat Kohli's luck at the tosses. Most of the times
That's
I
a good
end up
one.
getting rejected. It's only the few times that someone says yes and then it turns out to be a good one.
Well, I'll be talking tomorrow to Virat Kohli, not to Virat Kohli, about Virat Kohli. Now, Gil, do you realise that I've told Gargi before, but in Sydney we have a lockdown as of today, a 2-week lockdown because we had 80 cases very quickly, which is not many cases, but in Sydney, that's a lot of cases. So yes, I've got. Would you believe while we're talking, I've got my almost 90-year-old mother walking behind my screen at the moment. Say hello, Mum. Say hello. Say hello.
Hello.
Loudly. Say hello.
Hello, how are you?
Did you hear her voice?
Yeah. I hope she's also doing well. You told me a little while back that she fell unwell around a month back, so I hope she's recovering well. And yeah, hoping she's fit and fine and healthy.
Well,
Because we do need someone who can pull your legs. So I suppose your mother does a good job of it.
she does too good a job of it. If I put her on screen now, it would be hilarious. So maybe you'll do that later. She's more sarcastic than all of you put together, aren't you, Mum? You're very sarcastic. Say something.
What can I say? How are you?
Do you, I can't show on camera because it's a lot. I can't show her on camera. But I'd like to.
Not now.
Say hello. Just say loudly hello. Say hello loudly.
Who?
Not who. Say hello loudly.
What's his name?
His name's Gil. Say hello to Gil and say hello to Gargi.
Hello? Gil? What?
Hello. Good to hear from you, Miss Kochnek. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're recovering.
Wait, don't look. I'm not
Oh, I was about to show her and she got upset. All right, Mum. We'll talk. Say hello to Gargi as well. Say hello, Gargi. Say hello, Gargi.
Gary.
Gargi.
Yeah, it's difficult to pronounce.
What's his last name? Unusual name.
Yeah, say it again, Mum. Say hello.
Hello, Gary. What a beautiful
Yeah.
name.
Hello.
She said it was a beautiful name. All right, Mum. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
All right. I'm
Okay.
going. Good night.
Okay, good night. Good night. Okay.
Oh, it's cold.
You have no idea. You have no idea how much fun that would have been. Mum, okay. Now she wants to get on screen. Okay, all right. She's not really dressed for the occasion, but let me put it that way. Okay. Let's close the door.
I'll put my Nadia in a minute. Oh, stop it.
She's getting angry at me. Gil, you're perfectly right. You want to talk about comedians, Gil, and people who can send me and actually pull me down a few notches. She does a good job. So, Gil and Gargi, honestly, I want your honest opinion about three things. Now, we talked, Gargi, a bit about before. The changes to the Indian team. Gil?
Yep.
Changes to the Indian team. Virat Kohli's position as captain. And a bit about the schedule. In fact, before we get to that, the questions will be around changes to the Indian team, the so-called captaincy of Virat Kohli, and also thirdly about the schedule. Because the schedule, you've both seen the schedule, haven't you? Gil, have you seen the schedule?
The IPL schedule or the schedule of the
no.
Indian team?
I'm talking about the actual schedule for India regarding the World Test Championship into the future. Meaning,
Oh, that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a slight idea, but I'd just like to, talk more about the first two questions that you mentioned about
Alright, start.
India's playing 11 and captaincy. So, like I said on the day of the review of, the day India lost the finals, I think India should play the same 11 because, like we have discussed, that it is the best possible 11. It's just that uh, maybe someone like a Ravindra Jadeja wasn't utilized well, and then a couple of batters didn't really turn their hands up and raise their hands up, and didn't perform as well that they could have. Someone like a Cheteshwar Pujara had a poor game. Jasprit Bumrah didn't have a great game. Ravindra Jadeja wasn't utilized well with the ball, and then you could say that Virat Kohli and Ajinkya Rahane also didn't convert their starts. So I think they should still play the same team in the first test at least. And as far as considering Virat's captaincy is concerned, like we had discussed that day, the only possible candidate for captaincy can be someone like a Ravichandran Ashwin, who seems to be very smart and very tactful, as we've seen with multiple videos that he does on his YouTube channel. But he's only become a regular outside of India in the last 5 6 months, or before the Australia tour he wasn't really a regular. So it's difficult to have someone who's not been a regular in the side whenever they're playing overseas test matches to be a captain. So I really don't see any potential captaincy option in test matches, at least, because Rohit Sharma also hasn't established himself yet in the test side. He's only been in the side for, say, you know he's now played 7 test matches at a stretch, which is the longest that he has ever done in his career. So you really can't make him the captain either. And we all know the issues that are there with Ajinkya Rahane and his short selection. So I find the whole captaincy debate quite needless, to be very honest, because there isn't any other option. And Virat's not only your best player, he's also the potential captain, the only potential captaincy option as of now, in test matches at least. In ODIs, you could argue someone like a Rohit Sharma can take over because he's also been around for long enough, but I don't think it's even an option in test matches. So Uh, like I said, the first two questions I feel are extremely reactionary. They are coming from a place of frustration, I'd say, because no one expected India to lose. However, what people don't realize that in the conditions, probably New Zealand were the better side if you look at it man to man, because they are a team that are made for such conditions. So yeah, that is about what I feel about the two questions. As far as the schedule is concerned, I think it's too early to even get into that, because as we saw earlier with this WTC cycle too, that because of the COVID situation, a few series were cancelled and or postponed. So I don't see that happening with the Indian team anyway, because whichever board does that, they tend to lose a lot of money. But I really think that we should take it series by series, and we should only be focusing at the India England series, not just because we are Indian fans, or we might support the English cricket team. I just feel that even as a neutral, the amount of cricket and the quality of cricket that we will be seeing in these five test matches, it would be great fun to watch. I genuinely think that it's going to be a riveting series, very much like 2018. I just hope that Virat Kohli has some luck with the tosses, because last time in 2018 he lost four tosses and India ended up losing all those four tests. So I just hope that India are slightly lucky this time, so that we see a very well contested series. I won't be surprised if this series is more closely fought than the 2019 Ashes.
Great summary,
Good
Gil.
evening.
Naresh has joined us. Hello, Naresh. How are you?
Good evening. Good evening. I am doing good. Hello. Hello. Hi, Gil. Hi, Gargi.
Hello,
Naresh and Garg, have you been together before?
No, but yeah, I do follow her stats.
Ah, has she got good stats, Naresh? What are her stats? She's
Yeah,
bowling
yeah.
well.
Gargi, you played for Vidarbha or Maharashtra? Because I mean, I'm in Pune. I think Vidarbha, right?
yeah, Vidarbha Cricket Association. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is
And
based at Nagpur.
Nagpur.
and
Yeah.
Nagpur. Okay. It's interesting because Gil and Naresh, as you know, Gargi, they've been regulars on my show. They're great. They put great effort and great input into the show, and I'm very impressed to have them. But having Gargi here has certainly has lifted the looks quality of a lot of us, at least anyway. I think we've got different various. I'm only joking. Anyway, Gil, you're very quiet. Why are you so quiet? You got yourself on mute. What's wrong? Have you had a big day?
Yeah, it's been a tiring day. It was a working day for me. That is one. The other is that yeah, I just think that there's been so much of discussion for one game that there isn't anything refreshing or new to talk about it. If you see from that point of view,
Well,
we've probably
but I disagree with you. We're not talking about that World Test Championship game at all. I don't want to talk about that. I'm talking about what's next. The World Test Championships has been done and dusted. New Zealand's won. India lost. Full stop. We're all happy with it. It's great for cricket. We're moving on. I'm looking towards the future. I don't want to talk about how Virat Kohli captain in the last game. I'm looking at the way that, before we get a Naresh and Gargi's point of view, I've got here the list of the games. Okay, and we're just looking at a situation where, okay, August and September of this year, obviously India are playing England. We know that. We all know that. Okay, there's 5 tests. That's going to be. When was the last time England and India played 5 tests in England?
2018.
I don't remember.
Okay, it wasn't that long ago. All right.
2018 was 5 tests or 4 tests? 5 tests it was?
I thought it was 4. Was it 5?
5. Okay.
First
I thought it was
test at
4.
Edgbaston. First at Edgbaston, second at Lords, third at Trent fourth at Southampton, fifth at Open. The 5th test was the one where Rishabh Pant and KL Rahul scored those 4th and 100s.
KL Rahul got 100. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
It was also this the stat that I want to give out. It was also Hanuma Vihari's debut, and after Hanuma Vihari's debut, whenever India have played a debutant in test matches, they haven't lost a test. Hanuma Vihari was the last Indian debutant to lose a test match on debut. because after that India played. India had Mayank Agarwal made debut in Melbourne. They won that test match. India had Shubman Gill, Mohammad Siraj make their debut in Melbourne again, and they won that test match. India had Shahbaz Nadeem make his debut in Ranchi, and they won that test match. Uh, India had Navdeep Saini make his debut in Sydney. That test match was drawn. Then they had Natarajan and Washington Sundar make their debut in Gabba. They won that test match. Shardul Thakur made his debut in the series versus West Indies. And no, that was much before. So then when Akshar Patel made his debut in Chennai, India won that test match. So after the Oval Test of 2018, where Hanuma Vihari made his debut, every test match where India has played a debutant, they have not lost a test match. It's
Well, let's
Hanuma
keep doing
Vihari.
that then. Keep doing that. Keep doing that.
Yeah,
Get debutants
we need to
every
keep at least one replacement. Every match get a new person in, right?
So,
I mean,
yeah,
I'll even play.
All these times.
That was the only unlucky player in this regard that when he made his debut, India lost. In fact, even if you go a test before, when Rishabh Pant made his debut in Trent Bridge, India won that test match. So India's had quite the rub of the green whenever they have fielded the debutant in a test match.
Do you think for a minute though, Gil, they will now be thinking that and actually deliberately doing that? I wonder. All right. Okay. Let me finish now. Okay. So I've said August, September, there is the India-England series, 5 tests. Then we move to November, December, where there's a revenge World Test Championships of sorts, where India are playing New Zealand. I know it's only 2 tests, but let's argue Virat Kohli wanted three matches, didn't he, for the World Test Championship? Let's unofficially make the next 2 the part of that. What do you think of that? We could have an unofficial World Test Championship.
Yeah, but the trophy is gone. It's gone.
I'm only joking, for God's sake.
It would lead to a Kerry Parker situation once again, and I don't think we want that, especially with power being in the hands of 3 votes. I really don't think that we want any more of such cricket where you could have complete monopoly if it isn't there already. So I'm not sure that's going to be a very good idea. But one thing that I would have liked was that the India-New Zealand series that is going to happen in India this year, the end of the year, it should have been a 3-test match series and not a 2-test match series. What I feel is that in 2-test match series, what happens is that a lot of times the away team loses, and then they really have no chance to come back and win the series, even if they draw. So the test match series should always be a minimum of 3 test matches, and then maximum there. You could have 5, you could have 4, but it should have a standard practice. I think it should be 3 test matches.
Agree. Totally agree. All right. Well, then after we play, or not we, as in India, play the 2 tests against New Zealand at home, then they go to South Africa. And that's a very strong series. It's some 3 tests, December, January. Of course, it'll be very similar timing to the Ashes in Australia. And that'll be quite exciting too. And India really should take that series quite strongly and quite handsomely. Then India are back at home, and next year in February and March 2022, they're playing Sri Lanka at home for 3 tests. That's good. I'm glad that Sri Lanka's playing 3 tests against India, not 2. Then you have October, November, the big one for me, 2022. Who's playing? India play Australia. Now, that's 4
Australia
tests.
come to India, yeah.
Yep, in October, November next year. That's 4 tests. Now, why aren't they playing 5 tests? I don't know. I reckon they should play 5 tests. Then to finish with
India, Australia.
India, Australia playing 4 tests in October, November of 2022.
No, I
So they should
4 fine.
4 tests.
I think 4 is fine. 4-0 is enough of an ego boost for India. 5-0 won't really help India that much. It might demoralize Australia from playing Test cricket.
I'm not talking about helping India very much. I'm talking about what is fair.
Sorry?
It's not about whether it's fair for India, Gil.
No, I'm not saying it. As I've already said that we should have 3-match Test series. I'm just saying that a 5 Test match series might demoralize Australia so much that they'll stop playing Test cricket.
Okay. All right. And then November of 2022, so they play 2 tests away in Bangladesh. And then obviously we move into 2023, where 2023 will be the next World Test Championship. Now, based on the teams that India are playing in that series, they've got a very good chance of getting into the next World Test Championship, don't you think?
ड्राइवर को फोन पे देखना है नहीं उसको मतलब शायद that
Gar-
could be
Gargi,
normal.
what do you think? And then Naresh, you go.
Sure, yeah.
Gargi, you first, and then Naresh. Did you hear that, Gargi?
Sorry, yes.
What's your thoughts on that? Do you think India are in a good situation to work towards winning the next, or getting being able to play the next World Test Championship, making it the final?
Yes, yeah, definitely they can make to the another finals and hopefully win it this time.
There hasn't been any decision as to where the next World Test Championship will be held, but I think Gil and Naresh, I've spoken about it before, it would have been good for the winner of this tournament to have it in their home country. That would be a fair move. Would have been nice. Naresh, what are your thoughts? Before we get to go, Naresh, your thoughts?
Yeah. I think that's probably not known to us how ICC plans this every 2 years. But yeah, it makes sense. The winner keeps the venue for the next finals. But I think it will all depend on the logistics and how the situation is throughout the world. Because even this most of the series are getting cramped purely because of the backlog of last year. So I still see one more cycle of WTC to settle down of what is going to be the long run plan when it comes to the Test Championship. This again, another cycle would be more of there would be few new things again tried. We still don't know, are they going back to the old point system, or when they introduce this, some kind of percentage, will that stay, or these things. I haven't read or heard anything about those things. But coming back on India, I think it won't be surprising if India tops the chart again. India was number 1 in this cycle. India probably would come back to be number 1. Yes, the home series, the 2 big home series, we can say New Zealand now will be a big because they are defending champions. So the 2 test matches at home and then Australia at home, those would make a huge difference. We hope India does well in South Africa. Because to be fair, the only team India didn't do well when they traveled was against New Zealand, and they lost to that team in the finals. So we hope that we do well against South Africa in South Africa. We are looking forward to that.
Exactly. Very good. Okay. Whether it's point system, whether it's anything like that, I'm not worried about that, because I'm sure they'll do their best to make that work. The best way to make the World Test Championship is to do what? Is to play well, is to win.
Yeah.
Then point systems or anything else won't matter, because you'll have succeeded on sheer winning of matches. I think that's the way that they need to worry about it. None of the teams should be looking at the point system too much. They should be more about playing well. Now, we've got a new member, and his name is J.O. Otuhakati. He's saying sarcastically, must have handed over the captaincy to Ajana Ahane, and I'm being captain for the World Test Championship. No, I think that's funny. It's cheeky, but it wouldn't have happened. Anyway, it's past now, so we can't even take the club.
I just have one thing to say, that so the format as of now is such that there are going to be 6 series, right? Now, the distribution of those 6 series have to be in a manner that all teams are, playing stronger teams as well as, weaker teams than them, like how it used to be in the World Cup. Now, you cannot have, say, an England playing Bangladesh, West Indies, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka, and then South Africa, and then only one of Australia and India. Because what that would do is that it would help them and favor the conditions massively in their favor. It would tilt everything in their favor. So that there has to be some what do you call it? Some balance in what series all teams will play, so that all of them in a way have an equal opportunity. Of course, all of them cannot be of the same strength, so there will be relative difficulty and relative easiness as well, depending upon how strong teams are. But you just have to make sure that the balance is set right. You cannot have, say, someone like West Indies have hosting India, New Zealand, and England at home, and then traveling away to different countries. Because that way, what would happen is that West Indies wouldn't even have great chance of beating these teams at home. You understand what I'm saying? So it should be
Absolutely.
that way. Yeah, it should be that way, so
Yeah,
that there is an equal
Norman,
opportunity.
that's what I mean. That this cycle would be another try and testing cycle, because these are some tours which have been committed some time back,
Yeah.
and they are running late purely because of the impact of COVID. Surely ICC and all the boards would sit down together to plan the future. I mean, ICC has already planned the next 10 years when it comes to their own events. But these bilaterals, these kind of balancing of how the teams play each other, and most important, they wouldn't want Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, these sites to remain where they are. They want to improve their quality of cricket. So the home and away has to be really well planned for them also. So yeah, it's another cycle of a lot of learnings for ICC.
Very good. Gargi, now from your...
Another thing, just one
Go
last
ahead.
thing.
Go.
I think they need to they need to scrap this rule of penalizing teams for slow over rates in result oriented games. That's just a stupid rule. If you've
Oh,
had a
exactly.
result, I don't think over rates should matter. If it's a drawn game, then well, yes, go and do it. And if teams are opting out of a tour, like Australia always opt out of touring Bangladesh, then points should be deducted of Australia, or they should be awarded to Bangladesh. Because then what happens is, if there is no tour, then you will get into the percentages, etc. See, teams can use it in a very devilish way. Say if tomorrow England have a tour of Bangladesh, and Bangladesh can be really difficult to beat at home, and they know that Bangladesh has also defeated, say, a South Africa at home or a West Indies at home by preparing turning tracks. Then what is to stop England from saying we are not going to tour Bangladesh for maybe security reasons or XYZ reasons? So that shouldn't happen.
I agree totally. It's well said. It's going to be, I'm afraid to say, Gil and Gargi, it's going to be a learning curve, maybe for a few more World Test Championships to come.
Yeah,
what do you think of the frequency? Is 2 years too frequent? Gil or Gargi? Gargi? Do you think having the World Test Championship every 2 years is too frequent, too often? Gargi?
Yes, as you said, as Naresh mentioned, it is a learning cycle. Still, we are discovering things about how things will turn out. So yes, actually, I agree. 2 years is a very less time. Yeah, so there can be more gap between these cycles, so that teams can get some time to prepare themselves, and likewise.
That's a good point. There needs to be more preparation for it. You're right. I still think it's an incredibly important idea. It should have been done 20 or 30, 40 years ago. I'm sorry. It should have been the first World Cup. Before 50 over, they should have had a Test World Cup, don't you think? Or a championship. They should have had this concept earlier. But anyway, they've got it now, so we can look forward to it. That's the most important thing.
But Norman, 30, 40 years earlier, there weren't many teams that were playing test matches. Even the likes of Sri Lanka got their test status in late 1990s. So you didn't really have enough, I'd say, test teams to play to have a World Test Championship. And I think we all can agree that upsets happening are most difficult in test matches because of the length of the game. Because it's a 5-day game which has 2 innings per team, upsets really can't happen. So if say a World Cup of test matches would have happened in 30, 40 years ago, say even in 1975, or even in 1980, we would have never seen an upset like India beating West Indies in 1983, or even Sri Lanka beating Australia in 96, or Pakistan beating England in 92. So I think you also need that in unpredictability of sorts for a world event. that is why I think it was a good thing that this World Cup didn't happen that many years ago, and it is the same reason why I keep advocating that there needs to be more teams in, say, a World T20 and an ICC ODI World Cup, because you want that unpredictability to stay in a world event, right? A lot of us even watch, say, tournaments like the Football World Cup or the Euros or all of these because we watch it for the surprise that might happen, and all of us love an upset in any of the world events. We all love an upset which when it happens in a grand slam. Okay, the eyeballs are generated from an upset. So that is why I think ICC should ensure that there are more teams in World T20 events. This World T20 we have 16 teams, although they'll be playing a qualifier, the likes of Oman, Namibia, Papua New Guinea. But I would actually like ICC to have four groups of four teams each, and then have a Super Eights, because it sort of gives chances to the smaller nations to come forward and play at the world level. Who knows? We could have another a 2009 like an upset where Netherlands beat England in the very first game. Just for the record, Netherlands have beaten twice England in World T20s, and England have never beaten Netherlands. So we need somehow that uncertainty and the surprise to stay a part of that sport, else it becomes too predictable.
I totally and utterly agree, and I love you saying that, because the reality is that the future Test cricket, like any form of cricket, is based on those emerging nations, like Sri Lanka winning the 50 over World Cup in '96 for that format. The reality is, I can see in the future that happening. I think that's a great concept. All of what you said makes a lot of sense. It's all about good organisation and good planning, and that I think it'll evolve. The first thing is we needed to have a World Test Championship. We've had that now. Second stage is to keep improving it, get bigger, refine it, and get it to the point where it should be the most important match or set of matches on anyone's calendar. And then Test cricket will survive. And I'm extremely happy with the ICC, what they've done. Honestly, forgetting locations and weather and all, they've got their foot forward and they're going in the right direction. Now, Gargi, now you haven't spoken much. I want you to push these two guys out of the way, give them a push, and come through. And you've got Gargi is so eloquent. She studying law. She knows her cricket. Tell us about your thoughts on what we've been talking about.
Like I said, having this Test Championship is actually quite interesting. You see, this is good for the future of Test cricket all over the world. It was quite interesting. All the matches you see, the Gaba win was quite interesting. This final was also interesting, and we also got a result. So actually, I'm actually looking forward to it. Many more Test championships. Yes, and there is a lot of scope for maybe we can say improvement. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and it is going to be exciting time for cricket.
Exactly. I mean, Gil and Naresh, think of the fact what Gargi's saying at her age. The reality is a lot more going on than living still get private Shanaka. So Gil had to leave. He couldn't say goodbye. Let me just say, is he going to say goodbye? Yeah, say goodbye.
Yeah, I just dropped off. I don't know, something happened. Just wanted to say bye before I was leaving. So yeah, I think this is a conversation that we can always continue, and have different facets to it, as to how can associate develop nations be developed to play more cricket. I've always felt just an idea where you guys can take this forward, that whenever say a team is going to tour England, and that you need to have some kind of acclimatization before playing those test series. Why don't you play a test match versus Ireland, a one-off test match that will help Ireland as well as the team that is touring? Because Ireland would get to play more cricket. There would be more eyeballs. They would have a chance to impress those who are watching, and then the team which is touring anyway, they'll get tested because they want those games anyway. So similarly, when someone is going to tour India for a 4 or a 5 test match series, why don't you play Afghanistan for a test match? Afghanistan's anyway based in
We are
India.
playing Afghanistan. What are you talking about?
No, I'm just saying that can become a more regular feature, which isn't right
Exactly. So
now.
you have what you're saying is you've got a 5-test series between India and England, and you have Afghanistan start with a test with the touring side, India.
Yeah,
Then you go
yeah.
to South Africa versus West Indies, and you have I'll just say not Bangladesh. Let's play Bangladesh to take a record. You go to New Zealand
No,
playing
you can
Australia.
play if you're going to South Africa, you can play a test series, a test match against Zimbabwe. It can be a one-off test only.
Exactly. Or even you know what? I tell you what. Wait for one nation, Uganda. Uganda have got an incredible cricketing system going on there, both male and female cricket. It's funny I mentioned Uganda because I was going to bring a guest on today who was involved with Ugandan cricket. Okay. And she has told me a lot of great things about Uganda. So you're right. I love that, Gil. You know what? You should be on the ICC board or something. Why don't you apply for it? Your ideas are perfect.
You
I'll back
need to
you.
you with all of your links need to refer me there. Before I go, just one last thing. So there was Jason Gillespie has been the coach of Papua New Guinea, and I think he's coached them for 2 or 3 years. And he was of the opinion that Papua New Guinea should be allowed to play the ODI domestic tournament in Australia. He said that not only will it help in development of Papua New Guinea, it could also allow for Australia to take some good players like how England take it from Ireland and Scotland. Because a lot of Irish and Scottish cricketers, even the Dutch cricketers play in the county. How someone like Owen Morgan shifted from Ireland to England. So yeah, this is something that guys can always work upon. Now I leave. It was good to be on the show and
Gil,
pull up.
Bye,
anytime,
Gurpreet.
Gil. And everybody watch Gilly's cricket. We're going to refer to. I'm going to try and get a certain person on your show, and we reciprocate. All right.
Yeah, sure. Bye.
All right. Take care.
Bye, Gurpreet. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Now, James Dean, by the way, has returned. James Dean, the famous James Dean, who loves to add membership into the thing. He's a great guy to have on. I'm going to mention that. Now, Joe Kartik say normal. I would say keep following her stats. I think he's referring to your stats, Gargi. We're going to get you to play for India. We're going to get you on the commentary box. Naresh is also going to join. Gil, we're going to make you guys famous. I mean, if little old Norman can get a following, you guys are next off the rank. It's about what?
Thank you.
There's so much room for good commentary in the world.
Yeah.
Okay, there is so much room. We need more and more good commentary and people of all types. It shouldn't just be an ex-England player, an ex-Indian player, because I'm not knocking them. There's some very, very good ones, but there are also some that are not that good. Okay, and I mean that quite fairly. Now, in the case of Naresh, you're brilliant. You're loved in all the channels you're on. Gargi, I want you to be regular. Are you going to promise me you're going to be regular?
Okay, yeah. I'll be there.
Put your hand up. Put your hand up. Say, I shall. You, Naresh, put your hand up. I shall.
Yeah, it's Gagi, it's off season now. When the domestic cricket
Yeah,
starts, probably
yeah.
we can expect you
Okay.
to play more. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Gargi, I shall promise Norman and Eyes on Cricket that I will. Hand up, hand up. You're a lawyer. You should
Yeah.
know this. This is legal stuff. This is law 101. Law 101 here. Naresh,
Okay.
put your hand up for the sake of it. Naresh, put your hand.
I try my best, Norman, to be on your show whenever I
I'm
can.
available. That's good. That's right.
Yeah,
Now, in
yeah.
Gargi's case,
Yeah.
you are going to be a future commentator. You're going to promise me that you smile like you are now and talk so eloquently and so intelligently and join. Do you swear? Solemnly swear.
Yeah, I do.
Good. Right. In some country, we just got married. No. Sweden, I think we're no. The reality is that this is great, guys. This is a man I want to get on. Anshuman Gil Carlton. He's also better known as Music Harmony. Let's see what he's got to say. People say India have an option of picking players from 1.4 billion people, whereas the reality is England have the option of picking the players from the population of 7.6 billion people. I'm trying to get what are we? Are you saying?
Yeah, so,
I get it. I
because
get it.
there are a lot of non original Englishmen settling down and then getting to play for England. Yeah, that's what Anshuman means.
That's a very clever move. They take most of South Africa, some Zimbabweans, even Australians. No, in fact, they took a New Zealander. Ben Stokes is a New Zealander.
Yeah.
Ben Stokes is from New Zealand, yeah.
So
But
Ben
that
Stokes
way, Conway and Wagner are from South Africa, right? Playing for New
Correct.
Zealand.
All right, maybe South Africa should swap Conway. No, sorry, New Zealand should swap Conway with someone and get Ben Stokes back. No, who knows? That may not work. All right. Wouldn't it be? You know what? In Sydney, or in Australia, we play a game of rugby league in a state of origin. Why don't we play one little fun tournament called Cricket of Origin and put all those players back to the original countries? South Africa would all of a sudden be a big nation again, wouldn't they?
They were always a very good cricketing nation, whatever the political situation was around global situation to keep them out, but they were a very, very phenomenal side. I recollect watching Clive Rice play. He was a leading rounder for South Africa. Yeah,
I saw Clive Rice play.
East. Yeah.
And Garth LaRue. Did you see Garth LaRue? Have you ever seen Garth LaRue bowl?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay, Gargi and the rest, Google the name Garth LaRue. Garth, Garth, last name LE, and then a gap, ROUX. He had this incredible bowling action. It was beautiful. Actually, a fantastic bowling action. It really was. Now, Gargi, this is long for you, but our sessions get a bit long. This is going to test you. I want you to show me your ability, Gargi. I have got great belief in you that you're going to be one of the best commentators, if you want to be. Gargi, comment to this one.
Yes, I would like to do that someday. Definitely.
No. There's no someday. It's today. You are on now. You are on a platform that's had several thousand people watching the show, people watching it after. You're now on a commentating platform. You're going to be able to in the future with your way. You've got the right manner, the right speech, the right appearance. You're going to be a success. Okay.
Yeah.
But you have to wear the cricket hats I give you. No, of course. Naresh, send me your
need
details.
To send that. You need to send that. Yeah.
Have you sent me your address?
No, not yet. I'll do that.
So Naresh, explain to me how I'm supposed to send something to you. I don't know where I'm going to send it to. I can't just write Naresh Pune. That's going to really be. I'm sure there are about how many Nareshs live in Pune? You reckon? How many Nareshs are there in Pune?
Well, they won't dispatch it. It will lie at your point of origin. Don't worry about that.
Well, you send it. You send it through WhatsApp. You know that. So, all right.
Yeah,
I've tried to get an interview with Ben Cutting. Now, Ben Cutting is doing an interview with me. He was meant to be during this week. It didn't happen, but it will happen. When he's on, I'll invite you all onto that show. And you can ask him, what you've got to do is prepare one or two questions to give him that we will record on a separate video, if you don't mind. So get that going, please. Get ready for some questions you want to ask him. Now, of course, he plays for KKR. He played for Australia, for Brisbane Heat. He's quite a famous player. Actually, I'm frustrated for him because he doesn't get to play enough for the IPL team. He's always on the bench, a very good player. But sometimes I think there should be a rule in the IPL. You can't buy a player and then bench them. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And, the point at the time when Gurkirit left, that discussion on emerging countries playing more and more, especially starting with T20, I think ICC has opened that up for a lot of countries to play T20 and giving them the international status, there needs to be a restructuring of how these big domestic T20 leagues are happening. How do these emerging country players make an inroad? I think it's too highly dominated. Obviously, let's say, for example, an IPL, obviously it's an Indian league, so you'll have Indians, but it's still from the overseas players is still highly dominated from Australia, England, West Indies, New Zealand. We need to look at how the emerging countries players can get an opportunity to come in. Can there be like there used to be once in IPL a rule that you have to play 2 under 21 players or to players who have not been capped for international. Ultimately, they removed that rule. Can something come in? Because till they don't play high level of competitive cricket, their own standard won't go up, and
Exactly.
the popularity within their own country comes only when they start playing big teams or big players, with big players. So all this restructuring needs to be thought of from the point of globalization, because I think somewhere it's just stuck in the word. It's very slow when it comes to globalization.
The only positive is, or not only, one of the positives is women's cricket. They are growing more and more in those non-top tier countries, New Guinea, Vanuatu, because Vanuatu is getting good coaches. A lot of the good coaches are now spreading themselves around the world. I love that. If you're a good coach in England and you're the 100th best coach, well, maybe you need to look overseas to do your posting. And Gargi, you as well. When you eventually finish playing cricket, you should think about coaching a national women's side in a country like Uganda or Bhutan or anywhere. It doesn't matter where, because that's good for everybody. Because your experience, having played in India and obviously Bangladesh and in the future Australia and England, will be invaluable. So, Naresh, what's actually happening is the men's need to have a look over their shoulder at what the women are doing, because the women have got a very good handle on what's going on at the moment. The biggest, I think there was a percentage, 70% of growth is in women's cricket, and 30% or less is in men's cricket, something like that. So that's a telling sign, isn't it? Peru.
Yeah, but Norman, again, this was very disappointing. India playing test match after 7 years, and they play just one-off test against England. So these are the few things that it's not making any sense. And honestly, these last 9 days, we saw the Indian women pulling out a draw from the hands of defeat, and the men pulling off a defeat from the jaws of a draw. That's what it happened. The way that test match India-England women was. And one-off test is not, it's like how New Zealand is going and playing only 2 tests, or someone traveling to New Zealand is playing 2 tests. So all these things need to be completely relooked at.
Oh, there's no doubt. And I think it's going to happen. We've lost Gargi. I'm not sure what happened there. Did she say that she was leaving? I don't think she did.
No. I think we just lost her. Yeah,
because she's had some reception. Yeah, I'm just going to make sure she's okay. Look, you're right. But I think the way that they do it is they've got to learn from what's working. They've actually got to learn from what's working. And what's working at the moment, Naresh, is women's cricket. Australia, I tell you what, in Sydney especially, the strength of women's cricket is enormous. The numbers are growing. Every time you go to a training session, there are more and more girls wanting to play. Why? Because they've got role models. And we mentioned earlier with Gil, you need role models. Now, they're not necessarily like someone like Gargi coming to Australia and learning in Australia. You could then be a role model overseas with training, with coaching, with understanding, competitiveness, everything, sponsorships, the whole thing. And the same goes with men. I don't think, this is where a major failure is, Naresh. Not enough male cricketers are going to lesser countries to help them.
That's true. I agree with that, Norman.
Okay, a lot of them are just getting too much money. When they're off, they go on some 5-star resorts. They're selfish. I'm sorry, they are selfish. They should be made by the ICC to spend 2 weeks, 3 weeks somewhere in some lesser country, like Uganda, or you name the country, doesn't matter where. And they should be, and not just post players, I'm talking about current players. They should be exposing people to, let those countries have a role model to aspire to be, if they haven't got one already. Women's cricket are doing that properly, okay? The girls there, Alyssa Healy or one of those players, give their time. They play domestic cricket in Sydney, even though they don't have to. They do things that work. And I think
the World Cup final had 88,000 crowd in Melbourne. I mean, that shows the popularity of women's cricket. It was just simply amazing.
And it's such a pity because the day after lockdown occurred. But the reality is, though, what they did cleverly was they got Katy Perry, an international singer, to also perform there. So it brought in a new audience. Men's cricket should also think about a bit more around the IPL nature of the. I know they couldn't because of COVID. I get that, but
Yeah.
you could have argued the World Test Championship could have had a bit more pizzazz. Not that it needed it necessarily, but you could argue they could do that. They should have invited people, if in the right circumstances, invited those that were less fortunate along. Fill the stadiums through people who don't normally get an opportunity to go.
But I'm sure, Norman, if things would have been normal, this would have been an event for Lords, and it would have been a huge event at Lords.
Oh, true.
I'm sure this would have been a big one for ICC. Yes, it's unfortunate, I think, and that's why I think the credit has to be given that they went on with it. Calling it off would have been a very negative message on
Absolutely.
their priority to Test cricket. I think going ahead with it, I think that's one big win which ICC has got for Test cricket.
Absolutely. There's been a comment here made about, I just saw it about Dravid. And Dravid played for Scotland. He did things there. He's now giving back with coaching to the national side, the under-19 side. Dravid's a great example of someone who does that. Okay? I'm afraid to say Australians don't do that. A lot of them will do it if they get paid a lot of money, they'll go somewhere, or if they're well past their career and they've got no other choice. I mean, really, Steve Smith, Warner, even Michael Clark, who's not that long gone, Shane Watson, should be made to do that as a part of their program, in my opinion. So,
but on the point what Ashish has said, yes, that era of Dravid and Ganguly and Lakshman and all, there was not much of T20, and there was so much focus of them going for county during the off season, because when it is the English summer.
I'll stop you there. Naresh, I'll stop you there. Gargi, you want to go? Thank you very much for your time. Have you enjoyed yourself?
Yeah, definitely. And I'll be coming back to the show as I have sworn.
Gargi regularly, not just irregular, regularly, okay? Promise?
Regular. Yeah,
Okay,
I
good.
will. Yeah.
Thanks, Gargi.
Nice talking to you,
Yeah, bye,
Naresh.
Gagi.
Good to see you.
Same here, Gagi. Thank you. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. You know what? Isn't she well spoken, Naresh? She's fantastic.
Yes,
So I
yes,
was
well,
cutting off.
yeah.
What were you talking about? Talk more.
Yeah, I was talking about the era of Lakshman, Dravid, Ganguly, the amount of focus they had, because the English summer is when it is off season in India. They used to go and play so much of county cricket, that is currently missing. I don't recollect when our current Indian team, how many players have played county cricket last. Okay, we had Vihari go in because players like Vihari, Pujara, they never play white ball cricket, and that is a bigger concern. If they don't do well in this format, they are not considered any more good playing for India. So all this needs restructuring. The focus has so much been on white ball and the league form or the franchisee cricket that in a way it has worked for Test cricket because it's become more result oriented. But then the quality of Test cricket is dropping. So it all depends on how individual boards prioritize what they want to do, and that is what ICC has done. ICC has given them that opportunity. Yes, we will have a Test championship. Now you ensure that you improve the quality of cricket to play Test cricket. So
I don't know what's happened with the ICC, but they have really slowly but surely got their act together. The World Test Championship, women playing more Test cricket. I know it's taken a long time, but there's evidence to me that they're moving more forward in their thinking. The BCCI are improving under Ganguly. I think Cricket Australia will now improve under Nick Hockley. They had certain issues before. Nick Hockley has just secured Nike to be a part of the sponsor of the BBL. I've got a really good feeling about Nick Hockley, Ganguly, and the ICC management. I think there's a lot of great positives. Sri Lanka needs a bit of work. Although, Did you hear something? I'm not sure whether you're aware, Naresh. This coming summer in Australia, would you believe that not domestic, we're not talking about like grade level, which is county level, levels below that, third level competitions. Would you believe Tilakratne Dilshan as playing as a captain? You've got, what's his name? Jaya Sarira is the coach. They've pulled in a couple of other Sri Lankan players. Now they're trying to get, what's his name, Gale and Yurav Singh to play in local comps in Melbourne. How clever is that?
Yeah, you need to do that, and that is exactly as you were saying, how do the ex-cricketers or past cricketers help in improving or be part of this globalization effort, And as you said about ICC, the best thing that has happened, they have already announced the next 10 years events, what they want to host. The number of teams have already increased. So now they are executing what their entire plan was. They had something on the drawing board. Now they're going ahead and executing that. I mean, how would someone announce a 10-year plan? This means they are now so confident of what they what they want to do going ahead. And I think
Absolutely.
practically every year we have a ICC event now, whether it is a 20 over or a 50 over or a World Test Championship. So that's so good for the game because you're playing with a purpose now. You're going to play for this end thing. The end result is lifting a trophy for the country. So there's a purpose to the game now.
And there's so many people in America. America's another place that's extremely important.
Yeah.
It's the second biggest audience for cricket in the world after India. It's not just the audience. The player participation in America is important. They've had administration issues for a long time. There was a lot of corruption, a lot of bias. If they get rid of that, which I think they will now have an incredibly important part to play. The second biggest audience for sport, or the second biggest audience viewership in the world behind soccer is cricket. Not American gridiron or even baseball or other sports. After soccer, it's cricket. We've got to understand that and make a point of that because countries like Uganda and Vanuatu and Peru, you name New Guinea, they're your future development. And women's cricket is half the battle. Another half is improving men's.
Yeah.
I'm very, very, very buoyant about that. So it's great. And you're speaking a lot of sense too. I think the fact that they went ahead with this championship was good. And I don't care that it's not perfect. I don't care that we've got a point systems problem or the slower over rates. They're problems. We can fix it. Just do it. Just play it. We can talk about some of the errors later. Okay, there's not perfect here, not perfect there. Play 3 games. I don't care. Just get it going. Make your mistakes, but keep going. If you hold back and be worried about the image, you're wasting your time. Go forward. I think it's a great thought. I mean, a country like Nepal, for example.
Yeah.
They're intrigued. Again, women's cricket, Nepal is very significant. Very, very high level. Men's individual players are very good. I don't know whether they're necessarily there yet, but they're getting there.
UAE, United Arab Emirates, has also played World Cup. They have, but yeah, it's like all expats who are from the Asian origin. But
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It's actually good.
Yeah.
It's actually good.
Yeah.
I mean, there are plenty of Indian people who can't play for India. Let them go around the world and play for other countries.
Yeah, UAE, Oman, Qatar. So all these guys, they do want to, play a lot of cricket, and that is what, as you say, they need to tour these big countries. Like India can easily get all these Arab countries to come and play a lot of competitive cricket. We got so many teams. Within from the domestic itself, the state level teams also playing good cricket, but there has to be a lot of competition for them to grow.
Absolutely. And look, Oman's a great example. Their population is around about 4 million. 3 million almost are expats. Now they are in the top 20, 25 teams in the world. And they have Dinesh Dulit Mendes as their coach and coaching director. I've been to Oman. I've seen him develop. He's done a wonderful job. How good is that? What a great example. I mean, there are probably a lot of people in Uganda who are of South African or Indian background who have experienced that level of cricket. Fiji, Vanuatu, New Guinea. These countries will come through in the future. You watch. And why can't we have the West Indies have got several major islands in the West Indies. We could have a South Pacific team. Yeah. Couldn't we? The best from New Guinea, Vanuatu, all these different countries that are there. Put them together like a West Indies. Why not? Wouldn't that be good? Imagine that. Call them South Pacific.
Yeah, because this is the only sport they play together under West Indies. Otherwise, there's no other sport which has a name called West Indies. They play as per their respective islands. Jamaica and Trinidad. And actually, even the flag, it's a West Indies Cricket Board flag. It's not a national flag. So
no, But I don't think people realise that when they look at South Africa, Australia, England. We know they're countries, but the way that the West Indies survive is by playing several countries together. I don't think people really understand that. People watching cricket probably just think there is a West Indies. They're not appreciating that, in fact, they are separate countries, not separate states or provinces. They're separately, like,
All
my
separate
God,
countries.
Dominica is English, and it's in the middle amongst French islands. It's amazing.
Yeah, and other big move is about cricket coming into Olympics. That itself is also a big move, you know.
Absolutely. The format is the only difficulty, how they'll play that format.
Yeah.
But they need to. If it's the second most participated or most watched sport in the world, why is it not in the Olympics?
Yeah.
It's a good point, isn't it?
Yeah, and that is, I think that's what ICC is moving in that direction by including more teams, because as you said, though the viewership is high, the number of countries playing is permanent members is about 10 or 12 permanent members.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not making sense in Olympics where you have so many countries participating. So it's all going in the right direction. Yeah, it's just that how that high quality of the game needs to be maintained, and that is where all the people involved in the game, either in the past or present, have to play a role.
Absolutely. And we've got I've got quite a few people. Baram, he's saying the magical word China. Imagine if China all of a sudden start playing. You know, we might laugh and say they haven't got too many Curtly Ambrose playing for them. But that knowing China, they'll find some 6'9" guy that's playing baseball and throw him into cricket. It'll be quite disturbing, but China could. I'm not sure whether I would like to have China win a World Cup in cricket. That would disturb me a little bit. That'll take a bit of getting used to, I think. But anyway, we'll wait and see one day. You never know. I'm just trying to find. Okay, there are some people that do maintain the discussion on new captains. There was East Africa as well. You're right. East Africa, Kenya, Uganda. Yeah. That's right. There is discussion around new captaincy. I'm going to go on the streets tomorrow, Naresh, weather and COVID permitting, and to ask people about Virat Kohli and get it clear. I think you'll find there'll be a lot of people that will be still in favour of Virat Kohli. I think
nothing is changing. At least in this tour of England, nothing is changing. Up to the T20 World Cup, nothing happens. Normal, everything remains the same. Next 5 weeks break, I think everything will settle down and India will start afresh. Against England. Yeah, nothing changes.
But it's exciting because India get to play England, and then later on they get to play New Zealand again. That gives it another chapter to playing against New Zealand. Previously, that would have been a series of not great importance. Now it's of immense importance.
Yeah.
And that's because of the World Test Championship. And we can be thankful for that. We really can. It really has proved to be, the Indian era, there's a question about what happened to the Indian era. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's still very prominent.
Yeah.
Will
be the highest run. So it will be great if he does. It will be really good if Kohli can go on to really make big scores.
I agree.
And if that happens, then you always feel that India would have an upper hand and a better chance. The final was more about 3, 4, and 5 failing, and that responsibility they need to take and move on because they were the senior most players playing for India. Pujara, Kohli, and Rahane. So we need to move on with that. That yes, they were responsible of what happened. It was average cricket, and they need to pull up things to do well in the next 5 Test series. Because everything else is going to happen post that. We can't expect much happening in between of the series. There would be changes, definitely. They've taken a big squad. They have to get the others in contention into the lineup because India will be hungry to win. And probably India has the best chance to beat England in England this time.
I totally agree. I mean, Siraj will certainly figure in the team. I think he's pretty much one inclusion for the next match. Rahul a player?
Rahul, yeah,
he's there as well. I just wonder what will happen with the careers of Ishant Sharma. Not that he's been fantastic, but there'll be a point when he'll want to retire, and I wonder when that will be. Maybe if they'd won the World Cup, it would have been now. But anyway, Anderson is a threat to England. He's always a threat. He's a great bowler, especially at home conditions.
Yeah, he's really good in at home.
Absolutely. And I like this. Baran's made some good points. He said an East African team, perhaps a South Pacific team, or even a Europe side. They're not
Yeah,
bad
so on this
concepts.
point, I closely follow, there's a European Association of Cricket, and I think Germany, Netherlands, they're really doing well. Spain is coming up, I keep seeing that some new venue has come up, new ground has come up. So I think independently also as European countries, they are getting too competitive, which is good. Amongst themselves, they're playing. I think a lot of teams, the domestic teams from UK also go and play in Spain and Germany, these countries,
Well, Netherlands in
So
particular.
Netherlands and Netherlands has played international cricket. They've played.
Yes.
They've been part of a World Cup also. So yeah, there's a lot of cricket happening in Europe. So they have their own cricketing association officially, which is managing what's happening between them, which is good.
I'll tell you a story. Back in the 1990s, like 92, 3, I was living in Germany for the first 5 years of the 90s. Okay. I actually played for Germany in a game against Italy. And the Italian team was coached by none other than Jeff Crow. It was a bunch of old guys from Australia. Not old guys, but, guys. I wasn't old. I was in my 20s. But guys from Australia, England, New Zealand, even India, were all together in a team. And we would play against the Italian side, which is a bunch of English guys. We went to a place called Iskra. We played a game there. And there's a ground in Munich called Englischer Garten, which is garden. And they play cricket in whites there. And Germans crowd around and ask questions. They're wearing white clothing. Why? It was extremely interesting. That's 30 years ago almost. So it was amazing. I had that privilege of playing there. I was extremely happy. I thought when I lived in Germany, my cricket days were over. But I went to the Winchester Arms pub run by a New Zealander. There were English, Australians, and we said, let's play. We played cricket. It was just a lot of fun. Very lucky. Southeast Asia team of Thai, Malaysia, Singapore.
Oh, yes.
All sorts of possibilities. Thailand are very good with women's cricket, by the way.
Women's cricket, they played the World Cup. They did well. Malaysia, Singapore, there's a lot of cricket happening.
Can you imagine if South Pacific, which is South Pacific, and Southeast Asia side, a European side, and a East Africa side? That would be an amazing competition.
Yeah, they could come together and put a team. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that is what I say, that these guys, they have to look at how their talent can be part of the big leagues. There is so much of domestic leagues going on, like Big Bash, IPL, Caribbean Premier. Why can't these guys be promoted to come and play here? Give them some kind of a contract, even if not in the IPL, other kind of contracts, because like how the county setup is, it's been there for ages. The overseas players go and play. These guys have to come and play. Say Indian setup is so huge. Get them to come and play for domestic Indian state teams. Because
Absolutely.
their standard of cricket, once it goes up, it starts spreading across. There'll be more interest coming into the game within their community and the country, and then that's how the team is built. It's in the end, it's how good the team is. So you have to spread the game.
Absolutely. I mean, I know they must have thought of all this. We're not the first to think of it, but it needs to be perhaps pushed a bit harder. And I mean, even Baram's asked about South America. I know women's cricket. I'll give you an example. When the ICC World Cup was on women's cricket, they brought out, the ICC bring out individual players from lower ranked nations, and they play in Australia in a team versus BBL teams as practice. And in that team, you've got Pakistan, Bangladesh players, a whole smattering of players from different parts of the world in that team. And it works really well. Ramana Ahmed, captain of Bangladesh, who's played in the BBL, women's BBL, that is, she was a part of that. And I followed her. I'm very close to her. And it was amazing. So, yeah, look, I think men's cricket needs to look at what they're doing with women and start to reciprocate back with men.
Yeah.
Imran Khan, good place, Tom Brown. He played for New South Wales. When was the last time, it's been a while, say Virat Kohli played for South Australia? I'm being flippant, but why not?
Yeah, that's the thing. Why not? Yeah.
It's great promotion. Then he builds up a fan base in Australia because of his localized relationship to a state. I think I know they've got a lot of money. Money's not the issue. It's not about money. It's about bringing back to the game.
Yes.
There was a question here. I think Tony Greg, Malcolm Marshall played great. Tony Greg played up the road for me. He played with Waverley near me, very, very close to me. Okay. Just a quick question on the WTC final. What time was? What's your saying? I think we've had this just chat before, but just go through that. What do you think, Naresh?
Yeah, so I think there was a lot of debate. We heard it on air also that at least 450 overs should happen. Yes, they had factored in the 6th day, but like we saw, two days completely getting washed out. So probably there could have been an extension of one more day, and that has to be spontaneous at that point. So that flexibility should be there. But the whole point is going to be in the future where it is going to be played. To be playing in England, I think August, September is very safe compared to June, though it's the beginning of the cricketing season, but it's still a lot of rain in June. We will see in August, September also. I mean, when India is there now playing England, you will have some stoppages, but it's less compared to June. So I think it's the timing, and that matters, especially playing in England.
No, but I do think that it needed to start in England. I mean, I know that it's kind of a tradition there, and you've got to respect tradition. So I do get it. Now we've moved on from that. Now is it going to? I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe I would like to see New Zealand be able to host it. Why not? Or at least the game should be played in New Zealand. Doesn't mean New Zealand's going to make it, of course, but it'll be played in New Zealand. I think that's a fair point. That's about as balanced and fair as you can get. Really. Yes.
And
how are you going
for ICC? There's lots to look at, from the time zone perspective, which are the teams actually making it to the final. Because let's be honest, India reaching this final gave more importance and more visibility to the final, Test cricket final. Let's be honest about it. So, and playing in England made sense from the time zone perspective. It's not that if India plays in New Zealand a final, people won't wake up at 2 a.m. and watch the game. They would. We saw in Australia, everyone was up at 5 a.m. watching because it was such an interesting series. But yeah, all these things need to be factored in from broadcasters' perspective, time zone, which will be the ultimate teams making it to decide on the venue. Because in the end, the bottom line is that Test cricket needs to survive and how to make it popular. That's the main intent of all this that is happening here.
Absolutely. So Barama Irani is just giving us an update on the match between Sri Lanka and England.
Yeah, the last T20. Yeah.
I'm just curious about that. It's been very one-sided. Let's be honest. I mean, England are damn superior, aren't they? Really, they're really they've won the first two matches, didn't they? Quite, you would argue, easily. It looks
very easily. It was very one-sided. Small totals coming up. Yeah.
So the Melbourne Alley's playing for the first time in the series. We've got England side is Johnny Best. So Darwood Milan, he's really going to come into his own in the future. I'm glad he's there. Liam Livingstone, Owen Morgan, Sam Billings, Ali, Curran, Wokes, Willie, Jordan, Rashid. Looks like a good side to me. Sri Lanka's got Kalsul Pereira, Danushka Gunatilaka, Oshida Fernando, Kusal Mendes, who hasn't performed up to his ability. Niroshan Dickwella, I've got a lot of time for him. I've known him since he was a kid. I think I told you. I've known him since he was 13, 14. Dasun Shanaka, I know him. Rindu Hasaranga, Isuru Udana, Binura, Fernando, Lakshan Sandakan, who hasn't played. And the man, Dushmantha Tamira, could have been one of the best fast bowlers in the world. He just hasn't quite capitalised on that. So, yeah, there's a few interesting selections there. But look, Sri Lanka's been pretty soundly beaten. That's unfortunate. Well, in the past two games anyway. For me in England, the tour, India has to play Shardul, and he has to be developed. And Siraj and Avesh can be looked at. Exactly. Avesh is another player we've mentioned. And Sharma is old. Bumrah takes time. Yeah, Ishant Sharma should be applauded for what he's done. Bumrah, I tell you what, is Bumrah stale? Is his mind not there? He didn't look as, I don't know. He didn't look as strong as He normally does.
Yeah, yeah. Again, he's set a very high reputation and standard for himself, and that disappointed all of us. The length he was bowling, but yeah, that needs to be sorted. He has lots in him to quickly get that in place against England. But even when India toured New Zealand, Bumrah didn't do well. I think they've been able to sort him well on how to bat against him. But yes, there's lots on him also. The length he was bowling, I don't remember seeing a Yorker from him. And he's known so much for the Yorker, especially with the white ball.
That's a surprise. That's a real surprise. We're not seeing that type of delivery from a man that's renowned for that. Really, I'm not happy at all. I'm just posting something.
Yeah.
So the third T20, who won the toss? Sri Lanka won the toss.
Yeah.
And I hate this when they say Sri Lanka won the toss. What do they say? And elected to field. Elected to bowl. They don't, what elects to field? Do they? I mean, you won the toss and you elect to bowl. Go, I wouldn't mind having a field. No, nobody wants to have a field. They want to bowl. That includes fielding, yes.
Yeah.
I hate that. And elected to bowl. You bowl or bat. That's what you choose, don't you? You don't. Do you understand how that annoys me? Does that annoy you when you think about it? It's annoying. Oh, I'm going to choose to sit in the back in the garden with my sand pit and play. No, you don't do that. You choose to bat or bowl. I'm sorry. That's ridiculous. It annoys me. Really annoys me. Yes. All right. So for Sun Narain, please take my question. Avish Khan did well in the intra squad. What was the purpose of intra squad? Then Siraj and Avish did well while we're considered some surprise element. Yeah. Look, if Vasant is talking about the World Test Championship, I don't know what happened there, because obviously Kohli was talking about Siraj, wasn't he? But they made a decision to go with. Well, Shami deserved to be there. We know that. But
let's be honest, Norman, and an intra squad is just a much more advanced net practice. Training. To be honest, one is that. Yeah. Other thing is, it was a final after 2 years of all the hard work put in. So getting a newcomer in would have been a very tough decision to take unless an injury forces you. But yes, the 5 tests against England, we may see some surprises the way things happened in Australia. I think the changes could be more frequent, because I think India will be hungry to win the series.
So do you think Siraj will play in the first test match?
Maybe first test we don't see a change, or maybe just one. Yeah, Siraj comes in probably for Jadeja. Ashwin is the only spinner. Or maybe they get in one extra batsman too, and then could be Ishant is left out to start with, and then later on looked at Ishant again. But Ishant playing all the 5 test matches is not happening yet.
Well, there's no doubt that Siraj will get at least a few of the tests. He may get all of them. Who knows? Because he's probably the fittest. The bowlers. Bumrah. I wonder if you sat down Bumrah right now in this room, you and I were just sitting with Bumrah, and we asked him, how do you feel? What's your take? And if he was being honest, I would say, honestly, his mind hasn't been on cricket for the last few months. Getting married, life changes like that, an injury or two. I think his mind wasn't on cricket, and it showed in that match. He looked really like he wasn't 100% there. There was no aggression.
Norman, the same. Yeah, agreed. But from the same perspective, Shami was making a comeback after a long time. He last played Adelaide when he got injured of the last ball when the game got over. But he was phenomenal. When he came into bowl, there was something happening. Yeah,
he wanted to play. He wanted to prove himself. He had a gusto that made him play well. Yeah. But Bumrah had no I want to take a wicket attitude at all. Very strange. I find that very strange. I'd love to sit him down and actually ask him, look, just be honest with us. How are you feeling? Were you really not quite there? Although it was an important match, did you really not something was missing? Even the way he batted,
He walked off. He could have easily taken a review because it was the second last wicket. He just walked off. So yeah,
there was something. He wasn't there. Ishant Sharma tried very hard, no doubt.
He did well in the first inning. Ishant Sharma was very good in the first innings. Yeah.
He did. But Sharma was outstanding. I think Ashwin could have bowled more if he was allowed to. That was probably a captaincy mistake. Jadeja he fielded quite well, as he always does, but he didn't quite have the edge either. Jadeja and Bumrah were the disappointments for that match. I'll be honest with you.
I felt Jadeja, okay, in the second inning, it was not much of a total, 138, but probably Ashwin and Jadeja could have come together early, which didn't happen. Ashwin came in early. Obviously, he's the only one who took those 2 wickets. But if Ashwin was doing well at one end, I think Jadeja could have come from the other end. But it was more a spin and a seam attack. We hardly saw Jadeja Ashwin in tandem. Obviously, it's rare in overseas, but probably that situation demanded we could have tried both spinners at each end.
Okay, I've had some conversations with some people like Shreyas Iyer about Shreyas Iyer. He's never played Test cricket, has he? Shreyas Iyer's never played Test cricket, correct? No. He's captaining the Delhi Capitals on his return after injury, taking the place of Rishabh Pant. Is he a Test player of the future?
Well, can't say because he's definitely a wonderful batsman. He's got some big scores even in the domestic league. We'll have to see that. But at this point of time, with KL Rahul in the side, it's going to take time if Shreyas would be looked at. And also, he's not in the squad to Sri Lanka, so definitely he's recovering from the surgery he went through after the bad shoulder injury in the series against England. He has a commitment to Lancashire for the 100, so we don't know when actually he's coming back for cricket. Is he going to play for hundreds, and is there a case for him to stay back to play for India? We really don't know. Will that be permitted, or is he not going to go at all and directly start back with the IPL in September? So that needs to be seen.
Well, I mean, his shoulder, it's a serious matter. That's not a quick recovery. For a cricketer, a shoulder is important from whether it's left or right, doesn't matter. Bowling, batting, keeping, fielding, there's no way you can get away without a good shoulder. I mean, even the Jeff Thompsons of his day was aware of that. How are you going time-wise, Naresh? Are you okay with your time?
Another 10 minutes probably, up
sure,
to 7 p.m.
I just want to get a bit of a gauge because you've been on a long time. Look, to me, there's so many good Indian players that have come through the IPL that were playing there, that will play in the shorter form of the game. We know that. I don't think India's ever going to have a problem with the short forms. They're always going to have a plethora of players because of the IPL, because of the Ranji Trophy versions of the game. But in terms of Test cricket, again, a great squad of players. But I do think for a player like Bumrah and for a player like Jadeja to not have played that well in the West World Test Championship, that disappoints me and concerns me, because there are so many good players that will do anything to play in that tournament. If you don't go with, if you're not 100%, I don't know. I wonder what was behind that.
Yeah, but Shreyas Iyer, we don't know after the England tour what happens in the future Test matches as a part of the next cycle or when they play New Zealand at home. But at least in this tour, in the series against England, we have KL Rahul, Hanuman Vihari. I think both of them would come into play in the middle order. We may see them.
And Agarwal as well. Agarwal's there.
Mayank Agarwal is there. And definitely, I think Gill would be on notice for that. He'll have to really do well, or else Mayank walks in again as an opener.
Absolutely. And I'm certainly excited about the 5 Test series against England, but I'm slightly more excited now about the New Zealand Test to follow. There's going to be a little bit of an edge to India. They're going to be a bit more hungry, I reckon, to really give it to them, I reckon. Don't you think?
Yeah. And that's where Santner and Ajaz Patel would come into play now for sure when they come to India. So.
I think Santner's going to have to have a look over his shoulder because I think Patel is now jumped him because he was in the panel of players to play the World Test Championship. Well, he was in the selection, whereas Santner wasn't. That's quite a shock, actually. All right. So in future shows, we'll be talking about obviously the Test series between India and England. We know that's coming up, and it's actually not that far away. It's about just over a month away, but they'll be going. What are they? Are they playing some? They're not playing county matches, or they must be.
They couldn't arrange. Yeah, it's got declined. Yeah, ECB didn't arrange any domestic team because the players are not in quarantine or as a team together. So it's been difficult for them to get a team to play.
Let's be honest. It was probably the best thing they did was to go on a bit of a holiday. I mean, I know some of them have gone to. They've gone to Brighton. They've gone around England a bit. They're relaxing. Kind of a good thing. It's kind of a good thing.
Yeah. You may see a few of them in Wembley also. I think there's a game happening in Wembley. So that's right. The Euro, yeah. But yeah, two intersquad. Yeah, soccer match. I think they might go and watch some games also there.
I'm just having a look at what's the story with this that match between Sri Lanka and has it started? No, it hasn't started yet. Must be very close to start. I feel like writing to Quick Info and saying, guys, stop saying Sri Lanka chose to field. Stop saying that. Or chose to chase. Stop saying that. It's just such a bizarre thing to do. It's just wrong. Out of the vocabulary. Quick, guys. Out of the vocabulary. Well, we've had a lot of people. About 3,500 watching us. Naresh, it's been very good. I've got the numbers in front of me. It's a very good audience for a non-cricket day when there's no cricket to talk about other than the England-Sri Lanka series. And thanks to you, obviously, and Gil and Gargi for coming on. I'm trying to get Bet Cutting. I've given it like Simon Willis and obviously Chris Vernon will be featuring heavily with David Graveney and Monty and who else? Adam Hollyoak and Alan Malik. They got the England series to come on. They got a lot of time to come on, so I'll give them a little bit of a break as well because they probably need a bit of their own time. So, but I think the Indian discussions I'm excited about the next 2 or 3 years with cricket, as I always am. The development of hopefully another World Test Championship, hopefully in New Zealand. Have you planned? Would you plan any holidays to go and watch games live? Would you like to do that? Have you been to Australia, Ramesh?
So. I've been to Australia. I was there for the 2015 final in Melbourne.
You told me that.
Yeah. New Zealand, Australia. Yeah.
I was
was anticipating India reaching there because I have to plan the travel in advance. But yeah, India didn't.
Well, had I known you then, Naresh, had I known you then, I could have got you into the corporate suite with Tendulkar. We're right next to the press box. We're in there for. I was very lucky. I was very blessed.
Yeah.
It's good value.
But yeah, if I think next month there'll be some travel opening up from India to Dubai, and if things are okay, maybe during the World Cup I may go to Dubai. But yeah, that's still a long way away. November. It's very difficult now to plan things with the situation. Yeah.
Well, things are better there for you at least. I'm in 2 weeks lockdown, so I've got not a hell of a lot.
Oh yes, yeah. Sydney's again. Here also, actually, Pune. Now they're saying the third phase is coming up, and again they're putting the restrictions back, what it used to be. So yeah.
Because you were taking a lockdown a week or 2 ago, weren't you?
Yeah. We just came out of lockdown. They came up with those 5 different levels of opening up, but I think they want to go back to the lockdown, at least the restricted lockdown, like daytime, few hours to open up. What do you think of KL Rahul replacing him? Yeah.
That's a big call. Pujara is going to be hard to replace for some time now. It'll be lost. You've got lights missing. Looks like Naresh has gone into are you there, Naresh? No, I think we lost Naresh because of lighting there. I can see his lights have gone out. So anyway, KL Rahul being replacing Pujara is a bit of a way off. I don't think it's going to happen. Pujara's a long-term proposition for their side. I don't think we will see him replacing Eddie Harry at all, guys. I think that'll be Cal Rahul certainly can keep as well now. He's not going to replace Pund either. But he's in the mix. He's very close. He and Agarwal with Vihari, they're three players that are knocking on the door for a selection, and they'll be the ones that will need to be there. So it'll be a huge tour, 5 test matches. It's going to be very impressive the way that actually turns out, in fact, guys. Yeah, we've certainly had a great Pujara is worthless. I don't know about that. No, I think Pujara's played some extremely important innings over a long period of time, and I think he needs to be there, and I think you can't have him not on the side, to be honest with you. But again, guys, I'll be talking to people about Virat Kohli on live chats, as in live street talk, and the reactions in the next few days. We'll be doing a lot more regarding, I'll be having a regular time slot around this time each night. We'll talk to guests, we'll get some feedback and understanding of all sorts of aspects of cricket, including the upcoming England versus India series, which is a good month away. But we'll talk about it. We'll get some great guests on. Don't forget, we've got the IPL coming up later on, the World Cup. India playing, of course, against New Zealand at home, and then playing South Africa away. The Ashes tour. There's quite a few things going on. Did you have a blackout there?
Yeah, sorry, I actually had a power failure, so the entire Wi-Fi had gone down. So.
I thought so because the screen went black and you were not moving. So
yeah,
I was just talking about the shows in the future. We'll get some discussions in the rest. I want you to, if you want to be a part of it as much as you can. Have you thought about starting up your own YouTube channel too, like Gilly has?
I do podcasts.
Are you podcast? I saw that. Yep, you've seen that. What's on your Steve Waugh? Steve Waugh is. Oh, we're talking about Steve Waugh. Steve Waugh, of course, was adjudged, I think, today or yesterday, to be the #1 captain in the last century.
Oh,
and he was given that accolade. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that. I didn't see that.
He was given an accolade of being the best. Let me have a look. I have got it here. I actually posted it. Here it is. Steve Waugh beats Virat Kohli, Ricky Ponting, Graham Smith to bag the GOAT, the greatest of all time, Test captain of the 21st century tag. Former Australian captain Steve Waugh was chosen as the greatest of all time amongst Test captains of the 21st century through a poll conducted by Star Sports out of India during the ICC World Test Championship final. Waugh, who captained Australia in 57 tests, won 41 of them. Surpassed the likes of Virat Kohli, Graham Smith, and his own success of Ricky Ponting for the title. Yeah, playing 57 tests as Test captain and winning 41 is a pretty good
good. Very good. Success ratio is very high. Yeah.
And he would have had a few draws in that as well, so very few losses. Very few losses indeed. It's quite impressive. It was, you can take your hat off to him. Can any team win a Test series in India? It's a great question. Has anyone won that? England certainly didn't. When was the last time a team won a Test series in India?
I don't remember. That was too long back. Yeah.
It certainly wasn't Australia. I think it might have been England, actually. I have a feeling it might have been England.
I think England, I remember the time during Monty Panesar and Graham Swan. Kevin Peterson. I think it was 2012, 2013, around that time.
Yeah, but that's only one out of probably 20 years. It's probably a long time between that. Yeah, it's quite an incredible stat, actually. Quite an incredible result. Dr. Chia, no, I don't think it's a bit too early. That was put out Kumar saying it was 2012. Let's go with that.
Yeah,
That's 9
2012.
years ago. That's a long time. Well, we can't say that about Australia anymore with the Gabba, for example. We've lost that one. I'll tell you what. It was Pune Kings. Kumar was saying it was England in 2012. I'm pretty sure it's when good old Monty was there. When did India last play Australia in a test in India? That was when that news to Homework Gate wasn't it when they had the South African coach who was coaching us, Mickey Arthur, I think. Was that the last time Australia played against India in a test series?
India Test Series, I think, was it 2017, 2018? I think 2017, and then India went to Australia 2018.
That's right.
Sure.
Yeah, it was a fair while ago, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Any last comments from you, Naresh, before we head off?
No, Norman. No. Enjoying coming to your show whenever possible from my side. Yeah.
You're great to have on the show. You've been fantastic. I enjoyed when we were doing things together on Extra Time, which we'll continue on. I'll do some work with them during the IPL as well. So that's great. So Pakistan won test in India. That would have been some time ago.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point, Manu John saying is this is end the David and Goliath era. Is New Zealand now the new David? Well, yeah, it's interesting. Bhuvish is not. He's not in England squad, is he? He's playing in Sri Lanka.
He's in the he's for the white ball squad for Sri Lanka. Yeah.
He's not included.
Yeah, I think the confidence that Bhuvi can be a 5-day fit bowler, I think that is something which is worrisome. But English conditions, he'll be the best bowler for India. But is he fit for an entire 5-day test? Like as we saw that we felt in the second inning, Ishant Sharma didn't look as lethal as he was in the first. So that's unfortunately, because of the COVID situation, there is no domestic cricket happening. Ranji Trophy, which is a 3 or a 4-day event, but that's not happening at all. So how does these fitness levels get tested? So that's I think the biggest challenging point.
It's very frustrating, actually. It's very, very frustrating to me. It's something of a bit of a misconception there, what they can do. All right, we might finish it there, I think. We've had a great session. Yeah. Thank you, Naresh. Thank you for your time. Thanks, I'll send you messages about when we're doing the next ones, but you're always invited. You're a regular with me now, so as much as you want to be, you're on.
Definitely, Norman. Thank you very much. Thank you for
having me. Naresh. Take care.
Thank you.
Take care.
You
Hope your power
Thank you
works.
very much. Yeah.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
It was great having him on. Naresh is a fantastic Manaskani, very good. You need to bring an Ashwin and talk to him on this channel. Please invite him once. Well, I will try. If he's got time, I'll try. I think we should be able to negotiate that. Why not? All right. In terms of time, we mentioned that he's just getting old. Should he be dropped? I don't think. I would prefer to say that Ishant Sharma will know his time that he wants to go, and that's very, very imminent. It must be either this year or some stage this year, maybe next year. Maybe he probably wants to finish in India like most players would want to finish at home. If that is the case, then it'll probably be next year. I think we'll see Ishant Sharma leave. And on the top, he's played fantastically. You've got to give him a lot of plaudits for that. He certainly deserves what he's been given there. He certainly has been a player of great quality. And I was looking at the numbers, guys. Yeah, we've had a lot of people watch the show, which is great, and I always appreciate that. You know that, and I think that having so many great guests on certainly helps. And I'm just going to post on that. It's something of it's a great thing. This show it's given me a lot of options to bring you guys on, and it's a great session tonight. When you look at the fact that we've had Gil with Gargi. Gargi's been really good too. Gargi's been good, and obviously Naresh. And I think there's a lot to be said about the show. We've had a lot of fun. So continue to ask me questions. Your opinion on 100 cricket? I'm not a big fan, to be honest with you. I just think it's too streamlined for my liking. I'm not a big fan, but that's just me. We'll see how it goes. I mean, out of all the things I've talked about, I haven't talked about the 100 at all. A lot of the players dropping out of that. They're having to deal with the Big Bash, the Women's Big Bash as well. There's a fair bit of an issue there. There's got to be a lot said about that. I mean, really. Yeah, there's a lot to be said about that. Yeah, we talk about they've got an IPL to finish off. They've got a World Cup. They've got Test matches coming up against 5 Test matches. They've had a World Test Champions. A lot of things going on. The 100's kind of a Big Bash equivalent. It may have a place, but and they've also got there's the other thing that they've got on there. I've got the name of it now. It's a Varsity. Is it Varsity? I can't remember the name of it. It's the name of what's it called? Something Splash. The Vitality Cup, I think it's called. I've got the name of it actually. Oh, I look it up. That's great as well. So how many things are they going to have? The 100's going to be struggling. It was on last year because of COVID. It's on this year, somewhat thwarted. Player availability thwarted. It's all about the availability of players is not looking good. Why is India's top order failing in every big match? Well, they didn't fail in this first match. Their openers went really well. They got done for 62 in the opening match. That's effective Vitality Blast. Good on you. I've got the name of it. Vitality Blast. It lost my thoughts. Australia's gearing up first. Australia's gearing up for the Australian Tour of Western East starting 9th of July, correct? That's not very far away. The Australian side's again a bit. They've lost a few players there as well. And that's not very far away. We'll probably be able to talk about that. And Western Indies also playing Bangladesh in that tour. Kane or Kohli, who is better? Well, it's a difficult question to ask, Ashish Girl. Kane Wilson just won the World Test Championship, so you have to argue on the basis of the form of that match where he scored a 50 and a 49 that he's won the post for that. And at the moment, he's on top. But Kohli, pound for pound over the period of time, is still probably the leading player. But at the moment, Williamson's somewhat on top. Vitality Blast as well. Opinion on Sandeep. We're talking about Sandeep, the player that the Nepalese bowler. Are we talking about the Nepalese bowler? Is that who you're talking about? Or are you talking about Navdeep Saini? Why are you talking? Okay, we're talking. Yeah, Praneet Kumar, I would argue it is too short. 2 years is a bit too short. Yes, I agree. It should be 4. I would agree with that. I mean, so to Lamashane, the so-called Nepalese side, he played in Australia, played for the Western Suburbs side with Michael Clark, and he's played a lot of various versions of IPL, PBL, BBL, PSL, and CPL. Yeah, he's a good player. Should have people in Nepal looking up to him as a role model, for sure. All right, how are we going time-wise? Just looking at the time, guys. Okay. There's a lot of questions that we've answered here. Ishan's getting too old now. I've already talked about that. So Kohli is very aggressive, and that's the beauty of him. He's done great because of that. Why? And we're talking about that. I think India's not the best bowling. Certainly, at the moment, you can't say that they haven't got the best bowling. They've been absolutely fantastic. With Jameson, of course, Southey and Bolt, Wagner, even de Grunholm, Matt. There's a lot of depth there. A lot of depth. Incredible amount of depth, actually. And Lockie Ferguson keeps getting mentioned, and they're not getting selected. Yeah, I'm not happy with this at all. I'm not happy with this at all when the Australian players start being picky and not being picked. they should be then penalised because of that. I agree. You think that Ashish Girl, that I think Royal Challenge Bangor will win this season? Well, I'm not sure. I think AB de Villiers and Coley will both be playing, and Glenn Maxwell, I'm not sure. I'm assuming he is or isn't. I'm not sure. If they had those 10, yes, they will. But it's going to be interesting who's actually left for the last 31 matches being played in September in UAE. No, I don't think he's egotistical. I think his aggression is well balanced now. I think he's on top of his game. I think he was beaten by a better side, and that's all we need to do, really. Michael Holding once said, divided test teams in 2 divisions and have promotion and demotions and a WTC cycle. This will give test match the context every team throughout the season. It's a bold move to do that. You have a lot of sides that are involved with that. There'll be some teams that may actually go into the second division and never be seen again. I hate to say it. I'm thinking that way of Sri Lanka. Yeah, we'd be sad to see that. And that means we never play the big nations. That would be hard to do. But I do understand the WTC cycle is probably a bit too soon. 2 years, maybe. Could be 3 or 4. When will Virat make a century? When Virat Kohli actually scores a century, mark my words, the moment he scores a century, he'll score a number of centuries in all formats. Things like breaking the ice again. When he clicks into that gear again and bang, he'll go straight through the wall and he'll score a number of centuries, as he's done before. Again, according to you, which team is favourite for the upcoming T20 World Cup? India, England, probably. West Indies could be up there because they've got a lot of players that are back again. I've noticed the selection aside, they've got good players back. Australia, not really, but it'll be up there. That's what I think. India and England should play the final, in my opinion. That would be the worthy players of the final. That would by far be the worthy players. Well, we're going to go another 5 minutes or so, okay, guys? We've gone 2.5. So I think you also got lots of runs in England. I think now that the World Test Championship game is over, they can now concentrate on this. There'll be a large amount of it. You think Australia win the T20? No. They've got a long way to go. In fact, New Zealand's in front of them. England and India are certainly in front of them. Even the West Indies are in front of them. Pakistan can beat them in any given day. So there's not much really to say about Australia in that level. I've got some real concerns about Australia in the near future. I don't think they're going to be up there the way people are thinking for some time. There's a bit of an implosion going on. They need to get their act together. And with the likes of Nick Hockley, though, they certainly will be. I'm very impressed with him. New Zealand, why not? Why not New Zealand? I mean, India, England, New Zealand, why not? New Zealand's emerging. They're on a high. They have every reason to be on a high. They should have every reason to be up there. So no, New Zealand should be up there as well. Probably not as the other two. England and India are really streets ahead, in my opinion. They're really, really streets ahead. They're really doing well, and I think there's a lot to be said about that. Okay, let's have a look. I'm just looking at some of the things here. Let's having a quick look at the situation there, guys. We have lockdown in Australia. We have lockdown in Australia for the next 2 weeks until July 9th. We have a lockdown. So, but I'll be able to go. I've got a few things I'm doing, but I can go to get groceries. But yeah, who's going to cover the Pakistan Tour of England series? Who's going to cover? Well, if it's on, we'll watch it. For sure. When is that? That's I'm not sure if you can manage, John. If you can provide me with the dates, I'm not aware of the dates offhand. I'll have a look at the Sri Lanka England match that's on now. Let's see what the score is there. England are in bat. Of course, Sri Lanka elected to bowl. Bairstow is opening with Milan. There you go. Milan. That name should have been ringing in the heads of people a lot earlier. Great player he is. He was in, I think it was the BBL. He's in the CBL before. He's got a lot going from. Great player. All right. Bubba's a very, very, very Rost player. You mean the best player or the worst player? Is he saying worst player? Look, the Fab Four they keep talking about, which is Kohli, Williamson, Root, and Smith. You have to add Baba Azam onto that list. He's played some great cricket and is certainly in that league. So let's not discount him, please, from that list. Yeah, the World Test Championship is in the UAE, correct? It's starting definitely in the UAE in September. Obviously, the World Test Championship, it's after, it's in October, November. So you'll have the IPL first, and then not long after you'll have the World Cup, and then India will play New Zealand and Test cricket, and then go to South Africa and play Test cricket there. Whereas Australia will play the Ashes and play against Afghanistan then. So much cricket. It's mind-blowing how much cricket there is. What changes should we make to the Indian play against England? Well, for the last 2.5 hours, we've been talking about this. I think Siraj definitely will be included, but at the expense of Jadeja, and they may even include and Gill will be under some pressure from Agarwal and KL Rahul. But if they go for another batsman like Fahari, they may even drop Ishant Sharma with Siraj coming in as well. So Gill batted number 5. There's been a lot of talk about that. Rishabh Pant as an opener, well, that would be exciting. Like a what's his name? Like an Adam Gilchrist would. Yeah, I think that's exciting. Williamson and Williamson did so well. He scored 49 and 50 odd not out to win the World Test Championship. Rahane scored 49, but he got out to the worst possible shot and really lost the momentum for his team. So yeah, there's a lot. Okay, and I'll take 2 more questions. Strike rate is very low. Well, if Test cricket shouldn't be much of a problem. I think only Williamson and Smith do well and win more matches for their countries than Root and Kohli. Kohli's actually getting exposed more on a Test. Smith and Williamson are the best. Okay. I want to see Alex Carey improve his batting and be a little more reliable. He's a very good batter. Can't lie. Well, he is, but he's not up there. Consistently not there. Shakib Al-Hasan Bangladesh is also aggressive. Has aggression issue. That's direct to the other side, yes, but he could direct that aggression towards the opposition in terms of his play, which 4 lower-ranked division teams would qualify for Super 12s and T20 World Cup. Oman's in there, apparently. USA, not sure whether they got a chance. Well, Bangladesh is in the top. Yeah, there's a few, isn't there? There's one of the African sides. Remember the chance. New Guinea's even floating around, surprisingly. Quite a few interesting developments there. All right, guys. Last 2 questions, and then we stop. Last 2 questions. Greatest captain of the century. It's not a question, but that's an answer. Yeah, totally was. And having met him personally, you've all seen that video. I've actually had the video, which didn't have that many views. You need to go back and have a look at that, guys. Rishabh Pant is open and Samuel Gill at number 5 in Tests. We've talked about that. Was Jadeja underutilised in the WTC final? Yeah, he was, but he didn't do well even when he had the chance. Nepal was also the option. Yep, is Kohli captaincy in danger? Not at this point. Okay. All right, guys. That's enough questions. So if you're watching this now, this episode of Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnick, and you haven't subscribed, then you need to do that, please, because I work very hard at this and I'm trying to build my program up. And through your help, we get that done. And I'm going to have a look now what's happened there. Yeah, we've had a few go on there. But if you're there viewing now, view, like, and share the post. You see my Instagram handle and my Twitter handle there at Norm Koch. Also, if you haven't logged in to the YouTube channel, log in and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button and the notification button. And then through your WhatsApp groups that you have around your friends, whether it's WhatsApp groups, Facebook Messenger, your email contacts, other social media platforms, Instagram, whatever it might be, Facebook, as I said, please share the link to these videos and share a link to the page and say, guys, have a look at this page, this YouTube channel, and subscribe and help Norman grow his channel. And that's what I would like you to do. Okay, so Kohli's captaincy is not in danger. We've worked that one out. Long live this show, long live cricket. All the best, guys. I'm going to say goodbye to you. This is Norman Kochnick from Eyes on Cricket. There's my hat with Norman Kochnick. View, like, and share. Subscribe if you haven't logged in, and hit the notification button. Share to your friends. All the best. Make the channel grow. Thank you very much, guys.